A lot, yeah. I've only got a couple of people coming in person, but yeah, a lot of people coming from the US, yeah, mostly. So that's why we're trying to sort of do this, and it's the first time, so we'll see. Roberto's been practicing, and
Yes, for people to actually come, it has to be like not interstate, and it has to be convenient for
Yep.
day, time.
Yeah, actually to come in, things like that. But we're doing a pop-up in Melbourne in April, and we sort of thought we'd do 25 people on one day. They can book, half-hour slots, and overnight, we didn't even announce it yet, really. I put a story on Instagram, and it was by the morning they're all gone. So we're going to probably do a second day there. Yeah, so that's been really popular. So it's funny to see what works and what doesn't as well. Mm. My microphone's off.
There's Abby and Melvin. Ask them if they can hear you. Your microphone is open.
Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me, Robin?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Beautiful.
Thanks.
Abby Jane, can you hear me?
I can.
Beautiful. We're just getting sorted here, and we'll start in about 5 minutes.
Sure. Okay.
Oh, is it cold, that aircon? Hi, Amy, how are you?
Hi, Clementine. How are you?
I'm good. What time is it over there?
It is 7:26.
Ah, nice. Lovely
What
to
time
see
is
you.
it there?
It is 10:30 in the morning, or 10:26 on Saturday.
It's what?
10:26.
10:26 in the morning.
Yeah, on Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for this. How many people do you have?
We've got, I think, about 7 in person, and then we've got a lot on Zoom from US. So
Great.
yeah, it's exciting for our first little educational event. See how we go. And then we're going to be running more of them, and they'll get more advanced as we go. So, we'll be doing sort of a care one, washing, styling, the stylist will be here showing how to do a couple of different curl styles. And yeah, so we'll get, every month we'll probably run something and then get more advanced sort of as we go.
Yeah. That's really cool. It's a great idea.
Yeah. I think probably, if you're looking into getting into wigs, then it'll be good for you to sort of join those ones that are a bit more advanced as well. We may even get into looking for stylists. Do you know what I mean? Looking at even colouring and cutting a little bit even more advanced later, yeah.
Yes, I'm definitely interested in that because I was thinking I could do my own wig alterations at least, like thin them out for people, give them, you call it a fringe, I call it a bang.
Yeah.
Give them a bang.
Yep.
If they'd like, just something so I could do it right there for them.
Yeah.
So that would be nice.
Yeah. And we've got a new stylist actually. So I've got 3 now. I've got Stephen, who's been the normal with us right through, and he's still here. We've got a woman who comes just once a week, Jody. So I'll introduce them on Instagram and things. And then I've got a new one, Tetsuya from Japan. And he is just incredible with cutting. It's that sort of Japanese trained, meticulous, this lines up with this perfectly to that, So he's really amazing. So it'd be nice to sort of do some stuff with him, showing how cuts are done too. So, yeah.
Oh, great. I'm excited to learn.
We'll get started.
I love styling my hair.
Your hair looks lovely, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. It's Alva.
Alva. I just posted Alva yesterday with the wee fringe. It looked really cute.
Oh yeah. Oh, I saw a few of your new pieces. I'm like, oh, I might have to get.
There's
I might have to get a few.
so many new pieces at the moment. Yeah, gone a bit crazy here, but yeah, all right. We're going to get started in about 1 minute, so I'll just say hi to everybody. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Beautiful. Hi, how are you? Lovely to see you. Hello. Oh, looks all like it looks so different. We've just changed the salon. So normally, I don't know if any of you haven't been here.
I'm from Adelaide, so.
Ah, you're the one who flew in from Adelaide. Hi, hi.
Pretty dedicated.
Yeah. So you're just here for how long? The day, or you?
Yeah.
So you're
Came in last
not seeing
night.
Sydney?
No.
No?
No, not with the suitcase and
Yeah.
2 hard. So.
Yeah, and it's probably like 500 a night for a dingy hotel here. So
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Well, thanks for coming in. Really appreciate it. And I've met you. Have we met? No. Ah, nice. Oh, nice to bring your sister along. See, if you haven't been here, normally the salons are set up a little bit different. Like we normally have shelves here and here, but we've sort of just put them out of the way, so there's a bit more space and things. But yeah. All right, we might get started. Yes? 5 minutes? Okay, till everyone joins. Turn off pickup dress. Okay. We got nominated for 2 awards. With the finalists in 2 awards, Business Champions and Small Business, which is really exciting. And just off the topic story, I went to a Vinnie's or a Red Cross in Bondi Junction, and there's a really famous, can't remember her name, wedding dressmaker, and she had donated a whole lot of new wedding dresses to the Red Cross. So they were all lined up, and they were all, $7,000 to $12,000 each new. So I was sort of looking at them like, they're so gorgeous. I should just get one, but I would never wear it. They were like $150 each. There was a girl in there just buying 10, and I was like, are you just getting? Yeah. She was like, I was like, are you just getting 10 for yourself? She was like, yeah, I'll just wear them around the house if I have to. Like, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna get one.
Oh, I would have too.
Yeah, so I got 2 in the end.
Oh my God.
But I thought I'll wear them to the galas. So they have these big galas, and I thought I'll wear them. So I took them to a tailor, and he was just like, I can't take this up for you because they need taking up about that much. He was like, because each one is beaded and the sequence, it's all hand done. So it's going to be, like $1,000 or something just to take it up. He was like, just sell them. Don't even bother. I was like, bugger. So yeah, that little notification just popped up and said, pick the dresses up from the tailor. But I was like, oh, I'm going to wear them. And then, he was just like, no way. Like, this is all hand. Yeah, really tall people. He was like, I'm going to have to take that much up. And each one of these is a hand beaded thing I'd have to manually unpick and hand bead. He says, it's just not worth it. I was like, oh, yeah. Anyway, I'll have to find something else to wear to the gala, something dungy that I own. Hi, Tracy.
Hi.
Welcome. It's me. Hi, Mary.
Hi, everyone.
Who else have we got? Hello, Karen. Robin's here, Tracy's here, beautiful. Looks like everything's working. Good. Okay, let's get started. So first, I just want to thank everyone for coming. You know, it's a Saturday morning, so I know that's not always easy. And Friday night for everyone on Zoom. Actually, I should say there. I need to keep waving there, but for me, they're over here. Just a little bit of housekeeping. I guess toilets are straight through here and to the right, and to wash your hands, it's just through there as well. Just try not to touch. There's lots of wigs hanging that are, you know, drying or being coloured like that. Behind there is a working wig station, so just be aware that, yeah, there's lots of little wigs around and things, so just watch out for that. We'll do about sort of 45 minutes and then we'll have a break. So if you can go to the toilet, go next door, grab a coffee, anything like that. So we'll do a break, toilet stop in about 45 minutes. Just a little bit, if you don't know, probably a lot of you know me. I don't know if you found me on Instagram or Facebook or where you came across me, but my name's Clementine. I am the founder of Goldylost. I started Goldylost probably 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago now, while on maternity leave. And the main reason was I've had hair loss since I was about 16. My hair started thinning around then, but by the time I sort of hit 28, it was getting pretty noticeable. And I just thought, I did all the drugs, you know, I did minoxidils and spirolactone, and I saw the dermatologists, and I tried the rosemary. So I did all of that. Some of it may have helped a little bit, but not enough to have good hair. So then I started looking at wigs, and I thought, well, you know, people wear wigs and they look fantastic, I'm just getting one. And then I really hit a wall about, okay, now I've got hair loss and the wigs I just can't wear. So that's when I really started to stress about it, because that was my, okay, well, I'll just wear a wig in the future. And then when that was taken away, I sort of thought, well, okay, now what am I going to do? This is, you can see all my bald spots on top. So I did I'm a bit of a researcher, obsessive, you might say. So I just went on a journey of, you know, buying from America, buying hair. I lived in New Zealand at the time. I flew to Australia thinking they would have amazing wigs. Disappointed. Bought from America, I was disappointed. I got big heavy silk tops with, you know, I had to cut big fringes because I had so much hair. So it was just a real nightmare for about 10 years. And then I thought, well, I'm going to make them myself. I want wigs with not much hair. I want a fine texture hair. So I knew what I wanted. I just couldn't find it. So that's when I sort of went into the world of actually talking to hair sellers, a lot of it through Google Translate, you know, talking to people in Russia, talking to people in Brazil, and trying to get that fine texture hair I wanted. And then talking to people in Asia about getting that hair made into wigs. And it just sort of grew from there, but it really was for me. And then when I was on maternity leave, I really ramped it up because my hair loss ramped up, and then I would just resell. You know, that cap was a little bit too big for me. I would resell it on Facebook Marketplace, and they just got snapped up. So I sort of thought, well, maybe I could just have a little website and have a little side passion hobby alongside my job. And by the time I sort of went back to work, it was, you know, sort of equaling my job, the amount of hours it needed. So yeah, I was pregnant again with second baby, and I was back at work and I was running Goldylost, and something had to give, and I gave up the job, which I was sad about. You know, I was a general manager, I ran preschools for refugees, really loved it. It was hard to give up, but now honestly Goldylost is just, you know, hubby's now working for Goldylost too. He's my CFO and does all the IT checks, and if you see all the new email marketing, he's doing all of that. So we're very much a family business. We sort of try and we don't outsource too much. We try and keep things in-house, so we know what's going on, how to do things. We also try and keep our prices of our products down as much as we can. So yeah, that's a little bit about Goldylost. You might even see, I live actually 3 houses down from this, so you might even see the nanny's got the kids today. They might come past and bang on the window and say hi. And a lot of my Instagram lives and reels, they bang on the window and say hi and pop in. So it very much is still family, small business. So anyway, today we're doing wigs and toppers, just 101. So it's sort of a basic overview of, you know, what are the wigs, what are toppers, the differences, the things that sort of trap people. You know, I went through a lot of expensive mistakes early on, you know, getting the wrong type of cap for me. There's so many different types out there. And obviously everyone says that theirs is the best. And when you get in Facebook groups, people might say something is amazing. And it might be because it's actually their first one and they are really enjoying it. Or it may be that it suits them and it may absolutely not suit you. I found this personally with silk top wigs. I went in the Facebook chats and everyone said silk top looks the most like scalp. That's definitely what you want in a wig. So I went and bought, and virgin hair, you have to have virgin hair. you have to have European hair. So I found all the top things that you had to have, and I went and looked for them, and I saved up, and I bought this wig. It was pure virgin white Russian hair, really expensive to buy Russian white hair. It was a silk top, and it arrived. It was a fortune, and it was just, but the hair was a really strong texture. It was enormous amount of hair. It was white, the whole thing was white, so it had no routine, no low lights, nothing, and I had to cut a big fringe into it to take the bulk of the weight out of the wig, and I just looked like I was wearing a helmet. I cried a little bit. I bought a wig on Facebook. I put a photo of a wig I liked, and I said I would like this. A wig maker came back and said, yes, we can make that for you. What I received was, it was sort of like someone had put a camera and made a joke, because it was a wig cap that's what they call like a spandex cap. So it's a thick black material with a big thick band, and she had put a machined piece of lace on top, and the hair, I feel like it was horse hair. It was like that, it was white, and it just went straight out like that, and the cap was about that big, like a wee sort of, baby cap on the top. And I opened it and just sort of thought, this must be a prank, because this can't be for real. She had actually stitched the white wefts with big thick black thread onto this black cap, and I cried a little bit, and it went straight in the rubbish. I said to PayPal, hey, look, this is what I said, this is what I got. They said custom order, nothing you can do about it. So I went through a lot of those, and the sad thing is people come here and they've done the same thing. They've just been tricked. So I thought I'd try and run more of these classes just to give people the knowledge, so when they do go look online, they think, right, I love silk tops, there for me, or no, lace tops is definitely what I want. I know what I'm looking for when I buy hair. I know the red flags of what a scam company looks like. So I see less and less of those stories, I guess. So that's a little bit about me, Goldylost. So first I'm going to start talking about hair. So in the wig world, there's normally synthetic or human hair. And people sometimes love both. Some people love one or the other. There's a little bit of a misconception around, I think, that human hair is really hard to handle. So I see a lot of people saying, oh, I don't like synthetic, but I've heard human hair is really difficult to work with. You have to style it and look after it, and it's just too much effort. So they stay away from human hair. But synthetic, in my opinion, is much less natural looking. If you've ever tried a synthetic wig, they often have a lot of hair. They're very shiny, especially if you're looking at blondes. Heat defiant ones will be a little bit more muted, so they can look a little bit more natural, but they won't last you long. You get about 3 months out of a synthetic wig, because they just matte. The fibers matte, they tangle, and it is a plastic. So, they spin plastic into hair. So also some people are concerned about, if you've got it on your head, you're heating up, you're out in the sun. Like I know in our family, we're pretty crazy about having, my husband goes and gets our cups here from next door, because we don't drink out of the paper cups with the plastic lining. So we're pretty crazy about plastics. So sometimes people forget that it is a plastic. It does heat up, you can be breathing that in. The good thing about them is the price point. So some people might have their good human hair wig, and then they might have a synthetic wig they use for the gym, the pool, things like that. They can put a cap over. It doesn't matter if it looks less natural, because they might just be using it for those things. So they definitely have a purpose. They're a good way to sort of get into the wig world, as a starting point. But if you're looking for something that's natural, human hair will always look more natural than a synthetic, because obviously it's a natural fibre. It's more breathable because it doesn't retain heat. A plastic will hold heat in. It's a bit like wearing cotton fibres against polyester. Some people will say, I was wearing a wig and I was hot and I was just sweating, so I don't want to invest in a better quality wig because it might be the same. Human hair will breathe, just like your own hair would. It breathes. So yeah, heat, definitely they're better, and obviously they don't have that unnatural shine as well. So, and you can style them however you like. Synthetics will not take heat tools, so whatever the style it comes in, that's sort of the style you've got. Which some people do like. They sort of call it a shake and go. You wash it, it will dry with that curl, whereas a human hair piece, you will have to give it some sort of style. If you want it, if you did it with a curl, when you wash it, it will lose that curl, so you will have to redo that. So then there's different hair types. So something I also see people get confused about is Remy human hair. So people sort of say, what does Remy human hair mean? And I see a lot of confusion around that, and people saying, oh my God, I bought a human hair wig and it came and it was Remy human hair and it was horrible. So now I don't want Remy human hair. I also saw it's a big company from China, and it's a little scale, and they have what hair means. They had their virgin hair means this, Remy hair means this, and their Remy hair said that Remy hair is swept off the floor of salons or from drains. And that's completely not true. That is normally non-Remy hair. So when we talk about Remy hair, we talk about, say this person donated their hair or they're selling their hair. Say they say, look, I want to cut my hair short, I'm going to donate it. So the hair seller, buyer, would take a ponytail, actually a lot of little ponytails, and then they would cut it and keep the wee elastic around. So then this ponytail, they all get kept together. So that way, say you've got your hair shaft like this, your hair shaft actually has cuticles, and they look a bit like scales on skin. So they go down like this. So when you keep all of the hairs, sorry, there's the Airbnb upstairs. So when you keep the ponytails going one way, all those cuticles are still all facing the same direction. So if someone were to mix all that hair up, then now you've got hairs going this way and hairs going that way. So what happens is you've got cuticles going this way, cuticles going that way, and they rub, they just friction against each other. So non-Remy hair is like bottom of the barrel rubbish. It often does come from salon floors, it can come from drains, and what they do is they just put it in normally an acid bath, they can remove the cuticle, or they just put it in big tanks and then they put it through a sorter and then they put it into ponytails by length. So then they sew it into the wig, and as soon as you wash it, those cuticles will just knot and mat, and that's what we call cuticle lock. So that's unsavable. That will have to go in the rubbish. I did order some really beautiful Russian hair wigs from Russia when I first sort of started this journey, and they were all hand-tied, beautiful caps, and as soon as my stylist washed them, they just went into like a fur ball, cat ball. I don't know why they would waste all those millions of hours hand sewing this hair into a beautiful cap. But they straight to rubbish. It's unsavable. And sometimes I see people in Facebook groups saying, I got this wig and it's really lovely, and I reached out to the seller and they said, I need to put more masks on it. I need to put more oils through it to try and get that fizz and those knots out. But really, there's not much you can do about that. Sometimes they will be siliconed. That's the other problem. Especially here coming through China, they will put that through a silicone. So the silicone will last you about 3 washes. And then so it feels all silky. You can sort of tell that type of hair because it's too stick straight and it's too silky and there's something strange about it. And often it will have a little bit of an artificial smell. And so then you might wash it and you think, oh, this hair is really good quality. And then by about the 3rd wash, by the time that comes off, it will start to knot. And by then you're sort of past your return policy. You know, the sellers will say, oh, well, you've washed it and you've styled it and you must have used the wrong products and it's something you've done. So quite often women will say to me, oh, I don't know what I did because I followed the instructions, you know, I washed it with the right shampoos, but obviously I'm doing something wrong because the beautiful hair has turned to rubbish. And unfortunately, that's the rubbish hair is just showing its true colours. So when you're looking for hair, it always does have to be Remy, because yeah, Remy is the bottom. And then obviously there's different qualities of Remy hair. So in the hair world, it's really tricky because there's so much false advertising. People sort of say, is it Mongolian? Is it Brazilian? Is it European hair? And hair used to be graded sort of by, you know, it was A's and B's and C's. And the A's was, you know, when they look at a ponytail, it was probably from a younger person. It was a fine texture. It was silky. It hadn't been coloured. So that would sort of be an A category hair. And then a B category here, maybe it's a little bit more coarse, still hasn't been coloured. And then C was sort of, it's dyed, it's a bit dry. So it used to be graded like that. But then the sort of dodgy hair sellers, which make up a lot of the hair world, started to say, well, mine's A, and mine's A+, and now ours is actually A++. And it was just that rubbish that had been silicone coated. So then it started getting graded sort of by ethnicity. So a lot of hair comes from India. It comes through the temples. So women will go and donate their hair to the temples and then the temples sell it. That's a $1 billion industry. And then the money goes back normally into the temple. So that hair can be really fine textured and beautiful. A lot of hair will come through Chinese hair. It's normally a stick straight, stronger hair. A lot of hair will come through Brazil. A lot of hair now coming from the border of Russia, Mongolia. So hair comes from all over the world, and you can pick and choose sort of where you want to buy it from. But when we look for hair, it's taken a long time to find trustworthy hair sellers. and I ask for fine texture hair. I don't really care about where they say it's from, because my husband's Brazilian, we go there all the time, we see the hair sellers there in the markets, they actually will say, come sell your hair, come sell your hair. So we know that hair is actually bought by women wanting to sell their hair, which is the first point, because there is a lot of hair, especially if you see cheap hair, it can be bought from people who actually didn't want to sell their hair in the first place. So there's whole sort of markets of stolen hair and camps and terrible things that go on in the hair world. So that's quite important to us. We know it's women who sell their hair for a fair price, and then we pay a fair price for it. And when I talk to them, they know what I want. I want a fine texture hair, and that's because it suits most of my clientele. That's what they're looking for. Has minimal processing, so it hasn't been fried and dyed and all of those sorts of things as well. So it took me a long time. That was probably the hardest thing about starting Goldylost, is finding a hair seller that I trust. I have 2 little ones now, hair sellers that I work with. Roberto, can you just help John? It's my accountant at the window. He's meeting Roberto today. So that was really important to me, and that took the longest, and that took most of my life savings, was actually just burning through money on trying to find a good hair seller that I trust. And we have an amazing relationship now. I actually have 2 people I work with, and yeah, that's one thing that people don't really realize in the hair world, that there's good quality hair and there's rubbish quality hair, and unfortunately it all gets sold as, we sell the most virgin, the most beautiful. I even get probably 10 messages a day from my WhatsApp of companies saying, we sell virgin hair, wigs, blonde virgin hair, and they send me a picture and it's fried, bleached to death. It would have been Chinese hair, so it's a strong hair, so they've bleached it to death to get to white, and they're saying this is virgin Russian hair. I just think, great, really, it's virgin, never been dyed. That piece has never been dyed, or it's got, a big black root on it, and then white fizz, horrible, and they say, no, it's virgin, it's never been dyed, it's natural state. So I've never seen someone in my life with that colour hair, so that's a tricky thing as well. And then in our hair, ours is considered, like in marketing terms, it is considered a Brazilian hair. So it's a silky hair, it holds a curl well, we look for a finer texture hair. But in saying that, a lot of people will come and say, I've tried Brazilian hair before, it was terrible. So it doesn't actually mean that Brazilian hair is better than Mongolian or better than European hair. It actually matters the quality of the hair you're buying. So I'll just show you, we have 2 hair types. One is considered our Brazilian hair, and one is considered our European hair. And the difference is the European hair is a finer texture. So it's a little bit of a fluffy, light texture. The Brazilian hair is still a very fine texture, but it's a silkier hair type. It will hold a curl better. It will deal better in humidity. The European hair is that finer, bouncier, soft, little bit of a soft wave to it. It will fluff a little bit more in humidity. Like you can see, Sydney's pretty humid. It's just got a little bit more of that lightness to it, and that sort of fluff, not in a dry, fizzy, fluffy way, but it just has more movement compared to the Brazilian hair. So I'll pass these around, you guys can have a look. So they're both beautiful. People get caught on, I have to have one. People in the group said European is the best. Neither is actually better than the other. European hair is much more rare to buy, so it is more expensive. It doesn't necessarily make it better for you. Some people actually realise they prefer the silkier type. They want to do more curls. They like that silky look. And some people find this just suits them better. So neither's better than the other. Quite often things are sold, one's better than something else. I'll just hold this up to the camera so you guys can see. So this one here is the European hair. Both of these are virgin. So these have never been coloured. When people talk about virgin hair, it means it hasn't had processing, it hasn't had colouring. And often people say, I have to have virgin hair as well because I heard that's the best. But something like this blonde here, this is not a virgin hair because we've coloured it. We've put low lights through this. We've added roots to these. So if you're a blonde, you probably don't want a virgin hair. It's really expensive to buy virgin blonde hair. So, if you might think, wow, it's the best, I have to get it. But actually, this colour's beautiful. So you might not think, oh, well, I'm going to spend $7,000 on a virgin Russian hair wig because, like I learned, it might actually not be the best for you. So all of our blondes and a lot of these brunettes, they have highlights through them. So they're now a coloured hair. So it doesn't necessarily mean they're not as good as this, you know, it's just the look you're going for. So I'll pass these around to you guys and you can just have a little bit of a feel about the hair. So if you guys just want to pass those around. So the shorter one is the European hair and the longer one is the Brazilian. So you'll just sort of get a feel, slightly different.
So would this not hold the curl as well?
It doesn't hold a curl as well.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it's just got that sort of, it's got more movement to it and it will dry more like that too. Yeah, well, the other one's got more of that silky feel to it. Like both are lovely and most people would, you know, if you've got dark hair would be happy with either. I'll just put them here, thanks. But just sort of want to show people that you don't have to get caught up on having something because you've heard it's the best. Especially like greys, you know. You've got a virgin European grey piece and then we've also got our coloured greys. So often grey hair will have a coarser texture. So if you're someone who's looking for a grey wig but you want a silky texture, then you probably want a coloured grey because grey hair, you know, people who are selling it, it has a coarser texture. So people will say, oh, I have to have a virgin piece. It just depends what you're looking for. If you want a silky grey, go for a coloured grey. If you like that coarser texture because you feel it looks more natural to you, then go with a virgin. So it just really depends on what people are looking for. And then also trusting the seller because I see so much European hair on the market. When you see it, it's often called European texture. And normally what that means is the seller knows when they buy it, they'll usually buy it through China and it's a European texture and they know it's not real European hair, so they label it as that and then if, you know, someone pulled them up on it and said, hey, this isn't European hair, they say, oh, I didn't know my seller, that's what my seller called it. It's like, yeah, but you must know that your seller is lying. And what often they will do is they'll take a strong hair, they'll acid bath it, and that removes the cuticle, and it makes the hair very thin. So then you've got a thin texture, and then they say it's European hair because it's a fine texture. But again, that's just rubbish hair. So, yeah. It's a little bit, well, probably maybe too much, but a little bit about learning about hair, just so when you go and you touch hair, you know what you're looking for, you know what it feels like, you know those sort of red flags, you know, when people are sort of talking about the hair types when they're selling them. And having conversations with the seller really to see if they actually know what they're talking about, because sometimes people will just start a business and they will just buy direct from a factory and they will just trust what the factory tells them and just pass that on to you really. Okay, so that's the hair types. Now let's move on to sort of cap constructions. There's two main sort of cap constructions in sort of higher end products. The first one will be your silk, and then the other one will be your lace. So I'll show you a silk topper because we don't actually do silk top wigs. So this is a lace, and when they talk about silk or lace, what they're talking about is the material that the cap is made out of. So these are your sort of higher end products. There's other companies, you know, especially in synthetic, they'll use monotop. You might hear things like that. Monotops is a more durable silk material, doesn't look as natural on the part, and often will come in synthetic wigs because it's cheaper to make. But we deal with silk and lace. So the benefit of silk is this sort of, it's a silk material, and people like it because it looks like skin. So it's going to give you the most scalp-like appearance. So that's why people love them. You know, this is a hand-tied silk. So when you're looking for, if you're looking for, say you love silk top wigs or silk top topper and you're looking at a buyer, a seller, just check with them if it's a hand-tied silk. So that makes a big difference as well. Obviously, everything that takes more time costs a little bit more. A hand-tied silk means that every single one of these hairs is hand-tied, you know, with a little needle, and it's made one tiny knot and it's hand tied into that silk. And what that means is that this will move anywhere you want it to. So, you know, you can wet the part and comb it. It also means it will move like natural hair because that knot's movable. There is other ways they can make silk tops, and it's a machine made. So the machine just in lines. So they're better because they are a lower cost, but when they're on the head flat, they bubble up and the hair will sit one direction. It's, you know, the hair is lined and it will just sit one direction. So they look sort of flat and sleek and stuck on the head. They're not as natural looking. So if you're looking for a really good silk top, just double check that it's a hand-tied silk. And that's exactly the same with lace. You want this area on the lace to be all hand-tied. Each one of these hairs and knots should be hand-tied onto the lace so that the hair can move freely. You know, you can sort of run your hands through it and those hairs are going to move around. Anything done hand-tied, handmade is better than machine. So this is your silk. On the inside of the cap, this would be your silk material here. And all the knots are actually, they poke it through the silk material and they're all hidden under here. So under this, if you were to cut this out, under here will be lots of little knots with a little end here. So that's why silk is denser. So the pro of a silk top is it looks like skin. The con of a silk top is it's denser. So it will sit a little bit denser on the head and it will have more hair overall. So the reason we don't do silk top wigs at Goldylost is for most people it's too much hair. You know, like as a topper, it's a half amount of hair, that works well. But in a wig, you've got your sort of silk top on the top, which is dense, and then it's a lot of hair in your face. Often people will have to cut fringes, curtain bangs to try and remove some of that weight out of the front of their wig. And they just look a little bit dense and helmety on top. So we don't do them here unless by request. If someone loves them, happy to do that one for them, but we don't tend to stock them. And then the other option is lace. So lace is, it's like a mesh, and it's this material here. We use Swiss lace, and the reason we use that is it's very invisible and it's also very durable. So there are different types of laces around. Some are very thick, some are very scratchy. HD is another very popular one you'll probably see advertised in wigs. HD is not as durable, so it's easier to tear. It doesn't last as long. So still a beautiful lace, but we prefer a Swiss lace. And all of these hairs are hand tied into this area. And the benefit of lace is one, that it sits really flat. Two, it's really breathable. And it looks like the hair is growing, you know, out of your scalp when it's on your skin. So that's sort of your two options you get when you come into cap constructions. And then I will talk about why you might choose a topper over a wig. So often in the US, actually, people will still call this a wig. Sometimes I do videos on toppers and people say, what are you talking about? That's a wig. So it can be a little bit interchangeable, but a topper is an extension, clips on top of your own hair, and it's only going to cover, you know, a portion of your head, whereas a wig is going to cover the entire hair area. So when you come to toppers, there's actually different base sizes. So you don't have density as much in a topper. It's more, the more coverage is by the bigger base. So there's little toppers, and I'll show you our mini topper in a minute. And this is sort of a medium-sized base. This is an 8-inch by 8-inch. And then we have our grand topper, which is a 10-inch by 10-inch, and that's a really large cap. It's sort of a hybrid between a wig and a topper. And all of them have pros and cons, so it's sort of looking at why you might like one over the other. And often that depends on how much coverage you want, how much extra hair you want, and what your own hair is doing. So, get out a couple of topper options. Let's start with our mini topper. So these are our little mini toppers. This is a 5.5 by 6-inch base. So when people talk about base size, it's measured front to back, side to side, and normally in inches. So wig topper sizes are universal, so you don't have to measure your head for a topper. Quite often people say, oh, I'm not sure what topper size I am. It's universal. So the difference is just how much coverage you're going to get. So this little topper will sit on top. Still gives a decent amount of coverage. You know, it's still going to cover most of your own hair, but you will see your own hair through here. So it's not going to completely cover your own hair up. So with a mini topper, it's more for people who might have a widening part, they might have some hair loss on top, but they still have, you know, a decent amount of hair. They just want to cover maybe that thinning area, or they may just want to add a little bit more volume. You know, someone with a lot of hair might just think, oh, I'll just want more hair, as opposed to putting in hair extensions, things like that. So this is a really great option for that. They just have 4 little clips. These are pressure sensitive clips. So they have silicone between the metal. I have seen clips before which don't have the silicone, it's just metal on metal, and that's really bad for your hair. So the silicone just helps to cushion and protect the hair. And actually I'll show you how this one goes on, don't mind me. So the idea would be that you can change the part anywhere on the top here. This one has been styled with the left-hand part. To change the part, you just wet the hair, comb it over, and it's going to dry wherever you want it, and it's still going to give you that skin look. And then the idea would be you would bring your own hair. Sorry, I need this mirror here. And this is wrong colour for me, but ignore that. And then you would just clip it behind your own hairline. So this one should be blended with your own hair. And then you just go around and clip on these little clips, and you'll see how much coverage it gives you. So it should be a similar length and colour to your own hair, because you're going to see quite a lot of your own hair through here. You know, like I would have to go with sort of this length, and probably a little bit of a darker colour. And then you really should blend a little bit of your own hair at the front here to just hide where it's clipped on. So it's still got that silk look. You know, if you part it anywhere on top, it's going to give you that silk look. And that's your little mini topper. Just adds a little bit extra, you know, sort of this much. Easy to tie back, things like that, you know, tie back in a ponytail. So these are the smallest of our toppers. There are smaller toppers around. You know, when I first got my very first topper, it was, I think, a mono top or something like that. And it was, you know, sort of 2.5, and it sort of went here. And my hair, often when you start losing your hair, the texture changes. So I used to actually have very blonde and very curly hair, and now it's dark and sort of like steel wool, you know what I mean? So the textures changed quite a lot. So then what I had when I had this little topper is I had a couple of silky strands on top, and first they straightened my hair and they put it on and it looked really good. 5 minutes after leaving the store, my hair fizzed through and I had these strange silky straggles on top, and I couldn't wear the thing, it was awful. But that's why we don't really do smaller toppers, because they don't work for many people. So that's the smallest we do, and this is a new product we actually just started doing, and that was because there were people who were coming in and saying, this is too much hair for me, I just want a little bit extra. So that's our mini topper. All of them have exactly the same hair. They have the same beautiful, you know, quality hair, and they come in the same colours. So if you love, this is Portia. You know, if you love Portia, we also do Portia in a large silk topper, and a grand topper, and a wig. So you don't need to be sort of caught on the lengths and colours. They can be done in anything. The next one is sort of your classic silk top. So this is an 8" by 8" base, so it's going to sit sort of here. And this is great because the clips will sit, often when people's hair starts thinning, it's thinning through here. So these clips are going to sit a little bit lower than that. We also do the comb at the front because that will sit in front but not pull on this hair. So because it's a larger base, you don't want the weight, any weight sort of. This one's fine because it's a little small base, but once you get into a big base with clips on top, especially if you're pulling it back in a ponytail, those clips can sort of pull. And if you're doing that every day, I have seen women, you know, come in with different toppers, not ours, but with clips in the front, and they have sort of a little bald circle where that clip is clipping in. So that's why we like the comb in the front. Ours are underventilated, so what that means is that it's got hair sewn coming this way. So some toppers, that's an extra amount of, you know, a lot of hand work goes into doing that, but it makes a big difference, because if you just have your silk top stop there, you're going to have a really big ridge to try and blend your own hair. And often when people sort of start their hair thinning, it's through here. So it can be hard to sort of try and blend thin hair with suddenly beautiful, silky, heavy hair without that under ventilation. So I'll show you how these ones work. They have more clips. It's got 6 clips. I won't clip them all on. This is too blonde for me, but I just want to show you so that way you can see what's my hair and what's top of hair, how much coverage you actually get. And again, they can be parted anywhere. You would pull your own hair sort of forward like this, and then the comb would go in. I think they look best if you sit them very close to the hairline. Often a side part is easier. This one's got a middle part. I find that when they've got a side part, it's actually easier to blend over than with a middle part. And then you just sort of blend your own hair at the front, and then you go around. I like to put them on, wriggle it into place first. Right, that's where I want it to sit. Push it down flat, and then I go and put the clips in. Won't clip them all on. So you can see how that hair coming forward would just help with the blending. And then there's some little things you can do as well. You can, if your hair is a bit thin at the front, you can put a little bit of powder to darken that bit up to match the root colour. Often also curtain bangs, things like that can help as well if you're struggling to blend. But these work best for people who have probably a bit more hair than me at that hairline. And then that's your silk top. You can part it anywhere on top. Really easy to tie back. So, one of the benefits of toppers is tying them into ponytails. You just often take a little bit out like this. It looks really nice if these are cut sort of chin length. We're doing that a lot at the moment, curtain bangs, things like that. But tying back's very easy. It would be like that. So you'd see your own hair here, and then your own hair should be a similar colour. So that's your sort of classic silk top topper. They work very well for, people who are just sort of thinning through hair. Whereas this, once you start thinning through hair like I am, these become a little bit difficult. So I used to wear silk toppers a lot, and now I struggle to wear them at all, unless I would have a little bit of a side fringe or even a little bit of a wispy fringe in mine, because this area here is just a little bit too thin. I can put Topic powder, eyebrow powder, things like that to sort of zhuzh it up, and they work, but for someone like myself, a lace topper would be a better option now. So I'll show you our new lace toppers. I'll show you one in the same colour so you can get an idea, like wrong colour for me, so you can get an idea of how much coverage it gives you. So these are very similar base. So they're an 8" by 8", but the top area, this area here is lace. So it's got this fine silk material, which looks like this. This is on the inside of our wigs and toppers, but it's just a material for comfort. So it doesn't make it a silk top. It protects the knots a little bit under the lace. Also, if you've got thinning area, it's just a bit more comfortable. It's very silky. I'll pass it around, you can feel it. So you can imagine if you don't have any hair, lace can be a little bit, itchy on the scalp. So that just adds a little bit of comfort on the inside of the wigs or on the inside of the lace toppers. So that's all that is, but underneath that is just the same as our wigs, it's lace. Again, we've got the comb in the front, we've got the same clips and the same size base. The benefit of this one is that it sits really, really flat. Unlike the silk toppers, which are a little bit denser, it sits, really, really flat. So you can sit it right at your hairline and it's easier to blend. You don't even really need to blend at all. So they're better for people who this hairline is starting to thin, but they still want to wear toppers as opposed to wigs. But it's the same idea. I'll just put the 2 front clips in. That you will put the comb in the front, put it on flat and just go around and clip it on. Should be a similar colour and length as your own hair. With the toppers, these larger base toppers, you can go a little bit longer. So, if my hair was my hair's a bit of a blunt cut, so it makes it a bit tricky to go longer because you've just got a bluntness. If your hair's sort of around 16", you could sort of go to an 18, maybe even possibly a 20. You couldn't go, some people say, oh, well, I've got, 12" hair and I want to go 18. It's just going to look weird, especially when, you pull the hair forward like that at the back and you've got your short hair poking out the back. and your long hair down to here. So you do need to go sort of a similar-ish length and a similar-ish colour. You can go a few shades either way with colour. You know, like this is too blonde for me, but I can go blonde with a dark root because often people will have darker hair underneath and then the root colour would match, or I could go quite a dark brunette. So you can go a few shades either way. It's normally the root colour that sort of needs to be similar, especially, you know, if you're going to go like this, then a dark root would match here. So this is the lace topper. You can see it still looks very natural on the scalp. So the silk top, you know, the skin look is a little bit more skin look, but the lace is still pretty good. You know, no one's going to look at that and think that that's not your hair. And you can see that they just sit like really flat there. You don't have the bulk of a silk top to sort of try and blend over. So these are a really popular option for people who, you know, are struggling with their silk tops to sort of blend at the front. They also have less hair. So the silk tops, although it's very beautiful and gives you, you know, this beautiful silky hair, these give you just a little bit less hair. So some people find that when they put those on, it just feels too much, or they might like that as sort of a going out piece. You know, in the evening, they might have sort of the fuller hair, and then this is just an everyday piece. Again, really easy to tie back. So I normally like to take a few pieces here. You know, tie back into your ponytail. Obviously, if it was a similar colour. So those are a very good option as well.
Is that more breathable than the silk?
Yes, yep.
Right, so that doesn't prevent breathability, having that little bit of...
This?
That thing you put...
The west silk?
Yeah.
No, that's like, you can breathe through that.
Right.
Yeah, so they are, that's another thing they're good at. They're more lightweight, more breathable than a silk top.
I wish I'd known about those a long time.
These are new. Yeah, these are quite a new product. So I've only got about 3 in stock now because I had a couple they've already sold. But this is a product I've been working on for a while. There's been like closed lace toppers around for a while, lots of different sort of funny ones, and I've trialed them. And they had a sort of dense machine-made sort of lace, which I didn't like. So it's been sort of 2 years I've been working on having pretty much the wig top on here, but not being too delicate that, you know, it's still quite durable. A downside of them is they are not as durable as a silk top. Obviously, you know, lace is a more delicate material, whereas a silk is, like, that's a pretty durable piece of, you know, hardware. So this will last you longer. So if you're looking to have something with your investment lasting the longest, it will be a silk top. But then it's got pros and cons as well. So, you know, this will still last you a decent amount of time, but it is just more delicate. So that's these are new. This is just called our lace top toppers. And then the last one, actually I'll show you one with something. This is another one. And this is just, you know, making cuts. So often people will put a topper on and it feels very front heavy, especially a silk top, and they just sort of get a bit confronted and think, wow, well, there's a lot of hair in my face, especially if you're not used to much hair. Like, I wear my hair up in this style 99% of my life. So hair around my face just feels like, oh, too much hair. And a lot of people sit in my chair and just, that's what they're used to. So cutting a little bit of a bang or something in the front makes a big difference. Just show you this little one. It also is a good idea if you're someone who likes to tie your hair back a lot, because it just gives you a little bit of hair at the front, which is pretty when you tie your hair in a ponytail. So this is, again, one of the lace toppers. And you can see it's just had a little bit cut on the front. So when you tie your hair back, it's hard to see what I'm doing here. You have some, you know, some sort of, a little bit of framing around the face, which just helps a little bit. You know, it also removes some of the weight out of the front of that topper. So I'll show you another one like that. Because they're human hair, you can have them cut any way you like. So people quite often get caught up on how it looks like straight out of the box or as soon as they sit down on their head. But just making small changes can make a massive difference to how you feel about it. This one's obviously wrong colour for me too, but I'll just show you what you know, a silk topper looks like with a little bit of a fringe cut in. It can just remove some of that front heavy feeling. So this has just got, you know, just a little bit around the face. Whereas without this cut, it can feel like, you know, a lot of hair hanging in your face. Whereas that just removes it, so it's back off your face. You know, if you're going to tie it back, then you've just got that pretty little bit around the face. Can make a big difference as well. So we do all different kinds of cuts. We have a couple of stylists here who can do any sort of cut you want, really. So yeah, sometimes people see the pictures on the website and they get a little bit caught up in, I like that colour, but I don't want it curly, or I don't want, you know, I need fringes in mine. Whereas all of that stuff can be changed. You can add dark roots to things, low lights, have fringes cut, length cut. And then I'll just show you the last topper. So this is, we call this our grand topper. So this is a lace topper. And the benefit of this one is it has a lace front. So this is a 10 inch by 10 inch, so it's a pretty big base. It's a hybrid between a wig and a topper. So people might choose this over a wig because, one, they might not want to say they're wearing a wig. You know, they might, if they go tell their friends and things, people feel more comfortable sometimes saying, oh, it's just an extension or it's a topper. Another benefit is it's not as much hair. It's sort of 2/3 as much hair as a wig. It's a bit more lightweight. You can still utilize your own hair. So some people, you know, they think, oh, I actually quite like the little bit of hair I've got. I don't want to have to tuck it away. I feel more like me if it's out. So this one just sits on the top. It's got clips up here. It's a little bit more fiddly to put on. You've got to sort of get up and get those clips in. It's got clips around the back and adjusters. So just like the wigs, it's got adjusters to make it tighter or looser. And then you'll actually get your own hair out of the way. And then this bit would be out. And it sits on top. And it molds right over. So you just go around and clip these. I won't clip it all in. But you just go around and clip those on. And then clip these two. This lace gets cut off back to the hairline. So the benefit of this one, just check I've got it in a normal place. The benefit of this one is the lace front, really. So if you're someone who, you know, doesn't have hair at the front at all, or it's getting too thin to blend, then this will give you that artificial hairline. So you can do these sorts of styles, which is quite hard to do with the other topper types, you know, that sort of full back ponytail style. You will see your own hair here. So if you don't have any hair, these are not really a good option for you because it will look a bit unusual having no hair there. Easy to tie back into ponytails. Obviously this is not my colour match, but you know, easy to tie back. So they're a nice option as well, especially, you know, people looking for that hairline. So that's called the grand topper. They used to be on a website called the lace topper. Got confusing with the new lace topper. So these are now called the grand topper. And they're just a hybrid between a wig and a topper. Okay, so that is all of the topper bases that we do. We have 4 types. Try and keep it not confusing, but okay. Husband's saying maybe we'll stop for a wee break before wigs. But yeah, so that's pretty much our 4 topper bases, how they work, the benefits and pros. Some people might have a couple of options. They might do a grand topper and a lace topper, love them both. Some people might just prefer one over the other. You know, you don't have to be stuck with one. But choosing the right one for you is normally down to what you want to do with it and what your own hair is doing. You know, if you've got a thin hairline, then probably the lace top is going to work better. If you've got a bit of a strong hairline, you quite a full look, silk top is probably a good option. So those are topper bases, and we might just stop there for about a 10-minute break if people want to go grab a coffee, grab a water, use the bathroom, and then we'll get back and start talking about wigs. This is Portia. Sort of your sandy blonde. It still will be, but you can come and have a look at things. Don't want to do software update now. Oops. Yeah. Can you hear me on here? Okay. Oops.
Sorry.
Why are you trying this now?
Sorry. You need to unmute this, okay?
Okay.
So there's a property of inspection till 12 o'clock, Michael.
Okay. I'm quite honest now.
This one and this perfect one. Point. That's the street of that park. You know, the Donald Point Park? We took your mom once. It's pretty good. And it's at 12:30, something like that.
Okay.
So I might just go.
Okay.
And so that means I won't be here for the end of it. Okay. So when he finishes, just turn off everything. It's going super well.
Okay.
Good job.
Sorry, did I go in front of the camera?
No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Sorry, I did.
It's just live streaming. It's here, so you can go in front of it.
I'm sorry.
No, that's fine.
Once I converted to Wigs, why did I do this? Because I don't like the clips. I don't like the clips more. I don't have that. What's more was actually really you do. Oh, you do. But I remember with the silk top, I was just getting sweat coming down, you know, like in the hair side, it just gets so wet. But I've got more breathability though. No, because it's not that good. I've got more breathability with wig, but I can't work it out how to tie it up. I'd love to be able to tie it up. I know, but you know when you're hot and you want it to cool here, that's that I'm missing. I can't get it. Why? Because I have so much bulk.
No, but you think it's bulk, but it's not. That's the thing.
No, it really looks really bulky.
But yeah.
This is the first one I got off you.
Ah, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's been around a while. She's doing well. Yeah, looks good.
But I'm looking for something similar, but I haven't seen a sort of tone that's the same. And that's why I also
No.
came here today. I was like, oh, let me go and see if she's got something along these lines.
It was similar to that when it started, wasn't it? Or not really? Is that darker?
No. What was that the same as this one?
Maybe something like this, Pandora, or
What's that one?
that is pecan. Have a look at this tag. That's the hat wig, actually.
It's a pecan. It's cool. Slightly. I just like a bit of a depth, like you've got dark bits in this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that too. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a funny one because it's a hat wig, so it doesn't have the top,
Oh.
so you can't see the.
I'd be one of those people that forgot I had it.
Forgot?
Yeah, and I'll look it off.
Well, people quite often say to me, "Oh, but wouldn't you take? What happens when you take your hat off?"
Yeah.
And I think, well, if I had my hair down with a hat, or normally in a low ponytail, I wear mine, and then I wear a cap to the gym. If we went to a restaurant or something, sometimes my husband's like, "Take your head off inside." It's like, no way, I'm not taking my head off because, like, that would all be showing. So,
Yeah.
I don't take my sun hat or my ball cap off anyway. But yeah, they're a funny little thing. They look really nice on, with a cap and really nice hair. It makes such a difference instead of a cap and that sticking out the side. Like,
Yeah.
it's just a completely different look. I sort of look 10 years younger, but I completely understand the worry because I sort of feel like that myself a little bit with them. They're very popular in US. And people were requesting them. They were saying, "Oh my God, these hat wigs, do you do them?" And I was sort of like, "No, I don't, but maybe I should." So we do them now and then. Same as those sort of active wigs, the ones that go in the ponytail and you wear a big headband around.
I don't because I've got too many wrinkles and stuff for that sort of carry on now. But I like the idea.
Yeah,
of
tie it up.
one.
But yeah, it depends how much you want to get into having hair, I guess. because some people will wear, masses of extensions and a topper and a this and do it, to work. And when they go to the gym, they'll wear their up wig and their this. So it just depends. I'm so lazy that I wear this most of the time and I just don't care. Yeah, even now I'll go to the shops like this. And then I'll wear my wig when I want to look decent.
The benefit is, right, it's already prepared. It's
Yeah,
all
just
nice,
sits
so
there and I
when
just
you've
quickly
done your
pull it
makeup,
on. Yeah. So I sort of only wear my wig then. Whereas, some people like to look nice most of the time. I'm a bit too lazy for that. I look really crap most of the time, and then just when I want to look nice, I wear my wig.
I'm opening the mic, okay?
Okay.
So you can call it back when you're ready.
Okay. So yeah, I guess it just depends on the sort of person you are. Like my sister looks put together all the time, and she's always got a full face of makeup, and she always looks lovely. And I said to her once, "Don't you get sick of like spending hours getting ready every morning?" And she looked at me, she was like, "You could do a bit more of that actually." And I sort of got her point. Like I sort of thought, actually, she's right. I'm just getting around and like dungy this and maybe, yeah, she just puts more effort into the way she looks, and she looks lovely all the time. So yeah, it just depends. And I say, oh, it's because I got 2 kids. I don't have time, and then she's got 2 as well. So I can't blame it on them anymore. All right, we'll just wait another minute for Jennifer to get back, and then we'll start. So we'll do a FAQ at the end as well. You can ask questions. But also, is there anything that people would like me to cover as well? Like, is there anything you sort of think?
So your wig base, like an actual wig base,
Yep.
what sizes do you do?
Yep.
Because like you'd order a small, not from
Yep.
you, ordered a small, got
It's
it,
huge.
way too big, I had to sell.
Yeah.
It's just like, I gave you a custom size wig and it was still too big.
Ah, so it
A
was.
really small head.
There's different cap sizes as well, which is tricky. So a lot of the ones that come straight from China factories, I call them baggy caps, and they're normally ones that they have a big strap in the back, and this is lace, like the whole top is lace, and here is lace. They don't often have ear tabs, or if they do, it's a little piece, and they often have that big strap. But if you've seen like Freedom Couture, her wig caps are really big, and it's a different style. Like they're designed to be glued on. And if you have a look at her hair, she has hair to her bum.
They're like American, aren't they?
Yeah, it's more. No, she's in Perth, but she sells mostly to the US. But she has hair to her bum naturally, and she tucks this in the back of her wig. So if you're thinking how much room is in the back, yeah, so it's a different cap style. So if you're someone who, like say I've got this thin hair and my little head and I want a little bit of extra wig, if I heard that they were the best wigs in the world and I went and bought that, it wouldn't work for me at all. It would be a big baggy thing. It would be all lifting hair, an enormous amount of hair. So although her wigs are lovely in their own way, they're for a different reason. They're normally for girls, for photo shoots, model shoots, music videos, and girls with a lot of hair, but they might want to go 26-inch blonde. So it's just a different cap. So that's why sort of knowing what caps you like helps as well, because often people learn what caps they like by
Do you have set sizes,
buying.
like small, medium,
Yep.
large? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
So we've got a couple of options. We've got extra small, medium, large, extra large. We can do XX small and XX large. I don't often stock extra smalls and larges just because sort of 90% fall into the small and medium. But we can do any of them in those as just a normal pre-order. And we do custom size caps too. So some people might find that they're a large here and extra small here, and in that case we just do a cap size to measurement. So there's no extra cost to that. It's just you would wait the full 12 weeks for us to make that for you. But yeah, I'll go over how to measure your head as well in a minute, and then I will talk a little bit about how our cap sizes work.
So when the Q&A starts, you will see some people asking questions from Complexities. Okay, so there's already commentary here. Maybe you want to address.
It's going to be useful for the Q&A.
Oh yeah, Amy's saying I have a wig exactly like that from Frederick Mature, and the cap is enormous. Yeah, so much room between the lace and the cap of my head, very uncomfortable. Yeah, so they're just a different style cap. And obviously people look on Instagram and say they look beautiful. And also I see what they do a lot is they show the incredible hairline. And it's what you call a fully bleached, fully pre-plucked hairline. And they look great on a bald head. It's really thin through here. And on a bald head, that looks really great. But also fully bleached knots right back like that is not going to last you very long. Like those knots are going to break and you're going to lose that hair. And also if you've got hair underneath, you'll just see all this dark hair underneath. So the model probably on those ads is a bald woman and it looks, you know, great like that. They're also not showing you that they've glued it on. So, you know, it's taken like 3 hours of someone actually getting that wig perfect for that woman, gluing it all down, going like this, and you think, wow, incredible, I'm getting one of those. And then you get this big thing and you think, oh, well, you can see all my hair underneath. So yeah, it's just one of those things that Instagram and Facebook can be a little bit tricky. And that's why I get on lives all the time. I try and do these because I want to be honest about what our product looks like, what you can and can't do with it. I could get on there with, you know, heavy filters and show the perfect hairline, show me diving in the ocean, and then you get it, you think, oh, Clementine dived in the ocean, didn't ruin her wig, yeah, didn't slide at all. So I don't want people coming back and saying you tricked me, because I've been tricked, and yeah, no, that's right. That's fine. All right, so we're going to get started talking about wigs. This is, people can hear me here, can't they? Yes. Okay, so a wig. Ooh, look out for this little thing, traps me every time. A wig is obviously your full cap. So it's going to cover up all of your own hair, not designed for your hair to blend or to be worn out. They can be worn by people with or without hair. You know, if you've got your own hair, you just need to tuck it away in a way that feels comfortable to you. If you don't have hair, it actually can be easier in many ways. We do lace top wigs at Goldylost just because, again, they're a more natural amount of hair. They look, you know, like the hair is growing out of your skin. The lace is really lightweight, breathable. Our caps have the stretch weft at the back. So this whole area is a hand-tied lace. These are your stretchy wefts at the back. So these are also, you can probably see my finger through there. So they're really lightweight, breathable, and really stretchy. And this is how the wig snugs onto your head and makes it really secure. One of the most questions I get is, how does it just not fall off? You know, oh, I don't want to walk down the street and my wig falls on the ground. So they really are snugged on. You can make them tighter or looser with these adjusters here. So a bit like a bra strap, they have little hooks in the back and you can make them tighter or looser, and those are on both sides. Our wigs do come standard with clips, so those pressure sensitive clips there, and a comb in the back. If you don't have hair, these are easily, just snip them, they come out. The wig will be really secure without them. I never ever clip mine on. I can't be bothered. I should probably take them out, but then I think, oh, what if I need them one day? But I've probably never ever clip my wig on. I just can't be bothered, and it doesn't add a lot of value. Sometimes if you like tucking behind your ear and you want the ear tab to sit really well pulled down, you know, then you might clip it just so it sits there, but you don't have to wear them. We do add silicone, so if you're someone without hair and, you know, you can send me a message and we can add silicone. So we add silicone here and to the nape, and that just helps it grip to your skin a little bit if you don't have hair. So there's lots of little alterations we can make to make them fit better for you. As I was saying just in the chat before, they come in different sizes. So unlike a topper, you do need to measure your head. And I'll just grab my little measuring tape from in here. So you're going to take 3 measurements. A lot of websites you'll see they just take 1 measurement and it's the circumference, and that is the most important measurement really. And the circumference is going to go around here, up, over, and back to where your hairline should be. So it goes behind the ears and up here. You can take this in centimetres or inches. We have this in both on our sizing chart on the website. Then you're going to go ear to ear. So it's just above your ear, over the top, over to the other ear. You're going to take that measurement and you're going to write that down. And then the other one is the nape to the front. So you're going to go to where your hair sort of finishes or should finish. And you're just going to go over the top and to where your hairline should be. Not to where your hairline is, you want it to be to where the wig would sit. So if your hairline starts back here, then you don't want to measure to there. You want to measure to where it should sit, which is normally 4 inches above your eyebrows as a sort of a good guide. So you're going to write those measurements down. On our website, down any product page, you can scroll down. It has a video on how to do that. And then it has the measurement chart. Always do this if you're changing wig companies because there's so many different sizing charts. Some people small on me is like a large, like they're massive. Whereas some might fit a little bit smaller. My brand runs small overall. And something I've actually just done in the last year is change the cap sizing a little bit. So all of our caps now are 1 centimetre shorter ear to ear and 1 centimetre shorter back to back. And that is because I was finding that most people were getting about 1 centimetre a bunch in the back. So we've actually even made our cap sizes smaller again. So that's something I'm always working on because obviously there's a standard sort of wig sizing. And I find that if everybody was coming in and having similar issues, then obviously it was issues with standard sizing. So I've sort of tried to change that so people are getting a more snug fit. It's not often you will get the wig fitting snug completely to your head though, because there's so many, unless you get a custom size cap, because head sizes are so different, we sort of have to make generic sizing, small or medium. So it's a bit like a pair of jeans. You know, it might fit perfect here, but it might be a little bit long. So for me, if I get stock standard jeans, I need to take them up, I'm short. So you should get a good fit, but you might find there is a little bit of bunching in the back there. That actually doesn't matter. Like my perfect size is a small. My wig I'm wearing here is a medium. Tiny bit of room in the back. Is it an issue? Like, I'll show you it on. No one's going to see. And you can see that I've just tightened the straps to the shortest they go to make it tight. And it just has a little bit of room in the back. Yeah, it's just got a tiny bit of bunching, but you can't see it. That's the main thing. Do you know what I mean? If it's like you can fold the material, then the wig's too big. But as long as it feels secure, you know, it's not going to go anywhere. If you go to run your hands sort of, you know, through your wig like this and the whole thing slides back like that, then it's probably too big. It should be snug on your head. So you can play around with where these adjusters sit. Sometimes I have people come in and they'll say, oh, I'm a medium, and they've got these adjusters on the very tiniest one. And then I'll sort of say, let's just measure because I think you're probably a small. You know, they should sit sort of on the first or the second one for it to be a proper fit. Unless like me, you're wearing a medium, but you should be a small, but then you sort of know that it shouldn't be.
Sorry, Kate, do you have to factor in how much actual hair you have to stick under the hat?
So what I'll do when I measure, like I would just, you know, if I tied my hair up like that and I measured over it, that's sort of how you should be measuring. So include the hair, how you would do it. Don't tie it into like, I actually, when I put my wig on, tie my hair into a low ponytail. I'll just show you. And that's a preference thing. I actually make a low bun there, and then I put the comb under. It just gives it a bit of an anchorage. And my hair's so thin that little pony's not going to make a big bulk. So don't make a big bulk like that and then measure that in. You know, you should put your hair as flat as you can and then measure. Also take into account if you're going to lose your hair. You know, say you've just started chemotherapy and you've been told that you might lose most of your hair, then you should take into account your new cap size. So if you're between a medium and a small, you would downsize to a small because once that hair is gone, you're probably going to be a smaller size. And there's not a huge differences between the sizes. It's sort of a couple of centimetres. So if you're, you know, between a medium and large, I normally recommend sizing down. Just so you get a snugger fit. It's always better to be a little bit on the snugger side than too loose. And that way, you know, you probably could go with either. So I wouldn't get too stuck on, oh, but I'm a large or a medium, which, you know, this one might be too tight or that one might be too large. You know, I'm wearing mediums and smalls, fine. Extra small will be too tight, large will be too loose, but most people could wear 2 cap sizes. So that's sort of getting the right size of the cap. Yeah, as I was saying, we do all different sizes. And then if you did want a custom cap, we can do that as well. And that sometimes people might have, you know, especially if you've got sort of more of a flat head at the back, like none of that ocular bone coming out, then you might find that actually this is an extra small and this is an extra large, say, then you're really probably going to be best with a custom cap. Just take your measurements, send them through to us, and we can make any of the wigs and colours in that to your measurement cap. It's not an extra cost, it's just a time thing. It will take the full 12 weeks to make. So let's have a look at the inside of the caps. I'll show you a different wig. Let's have a look at this little one is Mia. Put it on here actually. Don't fall down. Okay, so this thing's going down with me. Somewhere there. Okay, so inside of the cap, this is our classic wig cap. As I say in the wefted back, this is the lace top area. If you don't like the silk lining, so the silk lining is designed for comfort, can protect the knots there. If you see a lot of lace wigs around the world, they don't have this. This is just a little extra thing we do because a lot of my customers don't have hair, so it's a little bit extra comfort. I've kept it in mine, but if you find that, you know, on skin it should be invisible. If you have dark hair underneath, you might find that it actually leaves a white line there, and it looks noticeable, like you might have the lace front and then you have an obvious white line there. That's actually designed to be easily taken out. So where's that little thing? It's just like this, and it's got invisible thread, and you actually just snip that and the whole piece comes out. So I put them in all of my wigs because they're harder to put in once the wig is made, but they're really easy to take out. So if you get your wig and you put it on, you think, wow, I love everything about it. What's that weird white line? You just snip that and take that out. And then what you would get is a wig like that with just your normal lace top. So that's this silk lining. This is your lace front here. As I was saying, this is an ear tab. So people will message me sometimes to say, what is an ear tab? What does it do? An ear tab is going to give you an artificial sideburn. So our ear tabs actually have hair sewn on top of them. So the hair is actually sewn on top of that ear tab. So that means it's easy to tuck the hair behind your ear. I'll show you with this on. A wig without an ear tab, like say you, like the silk lining on this one's actually a little bit visible because this hair is so light. So I could probably do with removing that, but I just haven't. So, you know, if you want to tuck your hair behind your ears, the ear tab will have hair sewn on it. So, you know, you can do that and it looks really natural. If you don't have an ear tab, what it means is that this piece will go just straight around there and it won't have that piece at all. So the reason you might do that is if this is all lace, but then that needs to be glued down. So if the whole lace front with no ear tab, if you see on an ad it says, you know, lace front, no ear tabs, then it means this piece normally is all lace and that piece there will just flap up. Like that's a flappy lace piece and you will need to glue that or tape that down in some way. Whereas the ear tab gives you the artificial side. So it's more what makes a wig glueless. Tuck it behind the ears, things like that.
How far down should it sit in the ear, like just under your ear?
The ear tab, it should be,
Cap, you know.
so
My cap was going over my ear.
if it's over your ears, it's too big.
Too big.
It's too big, yep. So you can see my whole ear. Yeah. So the ear tab comes here, and this goes, you know, that's the cap there. It's going up behind my ear, and my whole ear should be free, you know, so I should be able to tuck it there. If it's going over here, it's too big. If it's sort of up here, then it's probably a little bit too small. You might find, you know, that it does sit a little bit up high here, but you don't want to go with a custom cap. That's not really a problem. But over your ears, it means you can't tuck, you can't do a ponytail. If it's pushing into the top of your ears, that's going to give you a headache and drive you crazy. So it does need to be sort of comfortable. So that's sort of the basics of the cap. This is your adjusters here, tighter and looser. This is the comb. This also is easily chopped out. Just snip it and the whole thing comes out. You know, if you find that it annoys you, I like it because it anchors under my little ponytail to stop it sliding at all. But if you don't have hair, that's going to annoy you, so that's designed to come out as well. So that's sort of our classic wig caps. We do by request something a little bit different, which is a medical cap. So I can show you what it sort of looks like once we get into silicones and things like this. So you can see this one's got silicone on the top, just grips onto a bald head better. It's got silicone on the ear tabs. This one is a fully hand-tied cap, so this whole area is hand-tied. That's another one of those things that in the wig world I saw was the top quality. You know, when I was looking at virgin hair, it had to be fully hand-tied. We have done a couple of hand-tied wigs. I'm not going to do them anymore unless someone requests them. They're lovely, but I don't see any benefit, really. Like this bit has to be hand-tied because this hair moves, but this hair just hangs down. So it doesn't actually matter if it moves around for the cost increase. It's going to be more expensive because someone has to individually hand tie all of these hairs on here. And I just found for the benefit, I found them even a little bit puffier, and for the benefit, it just wasn't worth that cost to somebody because this works, you know, the wefts hang down perfectly at the back. So this was just going to cost you, you know, an extra $1,000, say, probably not that much, but I couldn't really see the benefit justify it. So it was one of those things I saw, yep, you know, best of the best, we have to do that. And I just sort of thought, I'm not really sure actually. So I won't be doing them as stock. People can request them, but I just think this one on the website, this is dimensional, it's called dimensional brown. It's just the one-off piece we've got. And I've just got it at our usual price because we were just sort of seeing, there's a couple I've got a deer and a hand-tied cap too, but I was just seeing if it's something we would make stock. So if you did want a fully hand-tied cap at a really good price, dimensional brown is a great one. And then we will look at some other little caps. So this one here is the pony cap. This is a lace top pony wig, so it's not the same if you see an active wig. An active wig normally doesn't have a lace top area and it's designed to be worn with a headband. These ones, they're quite a new product around. It's not something I invented. It was, you know, a product that people were requesting as well, so I thought I would trial them, and they've been really popular. The cap is the same on top. The difference is, this one's been styled in an updo already, so I can't play with it too much. The difference is, so this area here is exactly the same. Instead of these wefts being in a line so the hair sits flat and hangs down, they're actually designed in a circular motion. So there are pony wigs you'll see where these wefts are actually sewn upwards to go up in a pony, but those can't be worn down as well. So ours are actually sewn in a circular motion, so it's easy to pull the hair up. Because if I just put this, I'm trying to explain it a bit easier. If I just put this wig on here, this bit here, you know, I can pull that back into a ponytail easily. But these wefts, since they're sewn with the hair moving downwards, they don't want to go up. You know, it's going against their nature. So they don't want to go up. So it just makes the ponytail heavy and hard to hold. Whereas when it's in a circular motion, easily they can be pulled up into a ponytail. So this is the sort of thing you can get into if you're wanting, you know, a mid pony, even you can do a high pony with these. They are a little bit finicky to get on. If you don't have hair, you might want to wear a wig grip, and this is one that I would use the clips in, just because it's got the weight of a ponytail on the back. You do want it to be anchored on a little bit more than just your normal wig. I'll just quickly shove this one on and show you. So with they can be worn down, but often we will style them up. So when you receive it in the box, it's already in a nice up style. And then when you wash them and put them on your thing, you can just brush them back into a ponytail and dry it there if you wanted to. And so they're a little bit more finicky, just getting your hair. It's just got to play around with this little bit, a little bit more, because that's the bit that's going to be seen. And then so I would use the clips there. Obviously the lace will be cut. And then this ponytail's starting to drop a little bit, but there's your sort of pony. So you just would make sure that, you know, you check this area here. Make sure, like my hair's probably hanging out a little bit. Just make sure your hair's not hanging out. And then you've got your ponytail. So it's actually quite comfortable. More comfy than I thought actually. So yeah, that's sort of, you know, if you wanted to do, you're going out to an event and you wanted a nice big top bun, this is the sort of thing to have the hair up off your face. Great for hot countries, climates, hair off your neck. These are a nice option as well. Often, you know, when you start losing your hair, you sort of miss having a ponytail. So that's our lace top pony wigs.
And you said it can be worn down.
It can be worn down as well, yep. It will, because the wefts are in that circular motion, it sits a little bit, the last wefts out. which is actually quite nice because it gives you some breathability around the neck, especially in a hot, a hot place. So that's the pony wig. And then the other thing to look for when you're sort of looking for wigs is density. So people sort of say, oh, what does high density mean? What does low density mean? It can be really tricky because I see companies, I've bought from rubbish companies before, just to trial hair, back in the day when I was trying hair or different caps, and it was 200% density, which should be an enormous amount, and this straggly sort of thing came. So it's hard, when people say, oh, but yours are only 130%, but the one I had was 150 and it wasn't enough hair for me. So it's quite hard to compare company to company with densities. Similar companies, similar standard companies like, us, Lou's Wigs, Wigs by Tiffany, those sorts of companies, Highline Wigs, we would have very similar densities. It's just when you sort of get to unknown companies, they might have a little bit crazy ideas about things. And density actually just means how much hair is sewn into the wig. So when we get ponytails, it's all by weight, and then how much weight is actually sewn into the wig. So 110% is our lowest density. I personally have 100% on one of my wigs, which I like really low density. But if you get too low, you start running into the risk of seeing the cap. So stock pieces we do is 100% is the lowest, and you can see that this is 110. You can see you completely can't see the wefts, but it's just a little bit of hair. It's not, too much. It's just quite a natural amount for someone, especially if you're someone small, someone with a small face, you're not used to a lot of hair, then this is a really good starting point for a wig. Or it might be everyday piece, and then you have 130% for your going out piece. For many people, 130% is a perfect amount for them. So it's just really a preference thing. I'll show you what 110 looks like on. This one has a little bit of bangs cut. So you can see it's not an enormous amount of hair. It's just a little bit more hair, really. Really easy to tuck behind the ears. This one just has some little shorter pieces cut in the front. This is Mia. And this one doesn't have any layers. So this is your sort of blunt cut. If we have some other ones that have layers, so they'll have shorter layers throughout. But this is the sort of blunt bob. So that's Mia, and that's 110. And then I'll show you, this one is, I think it's Giselle, and this is going to be a medium density. And most of our wigs will have sort of this soft layering through it. It just makes it not so full, and then I'll show you one without the layering. So it just depends what look you like. This is a medium cap. So this is 130%. So it's still not a crazy amount of hair. Sometimes people get stuck on, it has to be the low density. This is not an enormous amount of hair. It's still tuckable. It's still a natural amount. It's not too much hair. And then for the fuller look, and if you do want a really full look, we can do 150%. Do you know what I mean? If someone says, oh, actually, I don't want a natural amount, I want a full natural amount, we can do more. And then this is Astra. So this one is 130%, but it has no layers. So what it's going to give you is that lobby, heavy look. They often look a bit better if we cut some face framing layers or curtain bangs into them, because they can feel like a lot of hair. Just find where it goes. So this is going to give you a sort of fuller look, just because it doesn't have that layering. It's full all the way to the ends. So they're just three, you can still ear tuck it. Still looks like a natural amount of hair, but for someone like me, I'm so tiny and my face is so tiny, it might be a little bit too much, but it just depends on the look you're going for. So on any of our product pages, when you scroll down, it'll have description, and it will tell you the density of that exact piece, because sometimes we might do, Giselle, that piece might be a low density, but then the next time it might be a medium. So you can just scroll down and have a look, and it will say 110% or 130%, and it will say with slight layers, which is this look, or it will say full to the ends, which is this look. So they're just slightly different looks, that's all. And you'll be able to see when you go along some of these pieces, you'll be able to see which ones are layered and which ones are not. Like this one, you can see it's, full more to the ends. And then we can also do different hair types. So the hardest hair types to do is greys, and curlies, curly blondes. So a lot of the curly hair, we will perm it to get a beautiful, you know, a curl on that. But the blonde pieces, because they've been dyed, they don't handle the perm very well. And what you might get is a sort of soft wave. So you won't really see in the wig world blonde curly hair. It's just really impossible to do. And when it is done, it's not very nice. Or curly greys. And if you think about, they're human hair. So people in the world are selling their hair. How many people actually have grey hair? That one, it's nice grey hair. You know, they might be an older Chinese man, you know, growed his hair to sort of sell. It's going to be coarse, it's going to be dry. It's not really what someone looks for when they want to go and buy a wig, sort of some wiry old grey hair. So then the people who have nice silky grey hair, how many of them are actually selling their hair? It's such a small percentage of the population. So then you're going to pay a top dollar for that hair. If we colour greys, that's also really hard to do. So, you know, we've now mastered quite a few nice grey colours we do, but a lot of wig companies can't do that. And so what they'll have is a blonde, and then they will, that's almost a grey, they will purple shampoo it, or they'll tone it and it will be a purpley grey. So it's not really a grey. So we do all of these are our virgin colours, and then we can perm them. So we do dark, curly toppers. This is a silk topper, the beautiful curl, and wigs. But we won't do blondes. So if you naturally have blonde curly hair and you're looking for that, you probably already found that no one has it. So what you can do is go with a straighter piece and curl it. These curlers we use, they have a very skinny one on there as an example, and you can do tight corkscrew curls. We have done that for people before. Takes time, but it looks lovely, so that is an option. Or you might just have to go with a straighter piece. So I'll just show you how a curly piece looks. So it's quite a full curl. So it's still 130% density, but with the curl it's pretty full. I love these because I was a curly girl before. If there was blonde curly wigs, you know, that I could do, I would have one myself. But yeah, so that's just a permed piece. We occasionally do virgin curly hair if we can buy it, but again, buying curly hair is very rare, so it's much easier for us to get the perfect curl pattern as if we just perm them. So that's a curly piece there. Okay, moving along. All of the pieces also can be styled any way you like. So often you'll see on the website we give them a soft wave. They won't dry like that. That's just how our stylist has styled them. They will dry a little bit more straight. They can be worn air dried. You can just wash them, condition them, hang them up to dry, and you can wear them like that. They look really nice. But for a more sleek, this one's been done with a straightener, and you know, something like that has just had a wave put in it. Really easy to do, and we will do some other classes on that. We also have videos that we'll be posting on that as well, how to do different types of curls, because some will be your sort of beachy wave, like this sort of wave here, and some will be more your sort of, you know, your bigger barrel curl. So we will do some more information on how to do those curls. And this is a low density piece, but I just wanted to show you how different they look. You know, because when they do have the wave in them, they do look a bit more full. So if you were to straighten them, you know, it's not a lot of hair, like it's just a little bit more hair really. And that's what they look like, more sort of straight. This piece has the layers in it. It's just a more sleek look. So don't get too caught up as well if you look at pieces, you know, human hair pieces online and you think, oh, I love that one, but I wear curls. You can just straighten them, curl them. You can part them anywhere on top. You know, you would just wet this piece of hair and move it over to its new part. This one's got a left part, but they can be parted anywhere on here. So that's your little sleek sort of bob. Okay, what else did I want to talk to you about? Measuring length. So when you are measuring the length on your wig, like say you want to order a 16-inch and you're thinking, how long is that? Do be careful when looking on different sites, because some people measure from different places. So we measure from here, crown to the tip. So this is a 16-inch, and measure from here down to here. So it's around sort of, the end point is around 18-inch, but we say this is about a 16-inch, and this one doesn't have any layers. So if you want to measure where your topper should go, that's where you would measure from. Often, they might have some soft layering through the front, so sort of you shouldn't measure from here. Some companies will actually measure from the nape. So when you look online at a product you want to buy, you might go down and see in the description, and you might see it's measured from the nape down. So their 16-inch, you might measure from here. Their 16-inch, is going to be to here. So you might order that wig, and it comes and it's this long, and it's actually because that's where they measure from. So just make sure it says measured from crown to tip or from nape to tip, because that can sometimes pull people up a little bit. Talked about that. Another thing people often ask is, do I need a wig grip? And what is a topper grip? So a wig grip is just a thing that goes under your wig. I'll show you on here. And it's just a little bit extra security. If you've got a lace top wig, make sure your wig grip has a lace piece, because a lot of them don't come with that, and you've just got this fabric right around, and then what you're going to have under your lace is a big piece of fabric showing. So just make sure it's got the fabric. This one has silicone for a little bit extra grip. Some people absolutely love wig grips. They find it makes the wig feel really tight and secure. I personally never wear one. I feel like it's extra bulk under my wig. So this is just another one of those things. These are cheap, and you'll learn if you like them or not. But when you see videos on Instagram, people always wear them because they look cute. So often people think, oh, I have to wear one of these, but it's just a preference. I personally don't like all this extra things under the extra things. So it's just you'll learn whether you like those or not. And the other one is a topper grip. So a lot of people have never heard of these. They go under your topper. So like this. And these are for people who don't want to be clipping their topper in. So they might clip the back clips in, but then you'd clip into here and here. And that way you're protecting. So say you have really thin hair here, or you find the topper pulls here. Some people might wear these underneath, clip the clips into the topper grip, and that is going to hold the topper on tighter. So a lot of people love them. I find that, it's getting more into finicky sort of things, of clipping things into things into things. I would just wear a wig, but then, if you still want to keep using your toppers and you're struggling with them, these are an option as well. So if you do see them online, people talking about topper grips, that's what they look like. So putting your wig on, people quite often come in and, it's a bit confusing of, do you pull it on from the back? Do you put it on the front? How do you get in the right place? So when you get your wig, the easiest way is to actually hold the lace at the front and pull that cap down over. I actually just put my hair into a low ponytail. If you've got more hair than me, you might want to twist it up the back like that so it's really flat. If you've got more hair, you might want to do 2 twists and twist one up here and one up here. And that's going to, I should have worn a top that doesn't keep showing my stomach every time I lift my arms up. Okay, so the easiest way to put them on is to sort of dive into them. So hold on to the lace at the front. This will be cut here, so hold on to the hairline and just pull that right over the back. And then you're going to come up and it's going to be very far forward. Then you're going to find the ear tabs. So the ear tabs should be in front of your ears and aligned. If one ear tab's up here and one's over here, then the wigs, sometimes people will put it on and try and put the middle part. They'll say, oh, it's a middle part, but actually it's a left part. So then they've got it over here, one ear tab's here, one's here. It seems pretty basic, but sometimes when you put it on, it doesn't feel that basic. So ear tabs should be lined up, and then, the wig's sort of like that, then you sort of slide it back. And that helps to pull any of those little of your own hairs back into place. About 4 fingers above your eyebrows is about normal. Sometimes, if you're not used to much hair and you're used to a high hairline, quite often people will like to have it a bit higher. I do. I always can put mine a little bit high. If you're used to a lower hairline, sometimes people will pull it down a little bit. Widow's peaks can be a little bit of a problem. You can actually pluck a little bit of hair out here and wear your wig more forward to match in with your widow's peak. Some people will actually cut the lace right off and then blend their widow's peak at the front. And I actually have seen people who will actually pluck their widow's peak out, regular wig wearers. So that's sort of how you put the wig on. Easy, once you sort of get it, but it can seem, for your first few times a little bit tricky. People put it over here and think, oh my God. this feels like way too much hair. So then things sort of that you might get as accessories. So you've got your wig, you love it. Now some things that will be very helpful to own. One is a wig stand. These are cheap on Amazon, eBay. They're just called a wig stand. There's different kinds of ones of these. If you're someone who likes pretty things, there's some beautiful pink velvet ones and, you know, beautiful ones with flowers. There's all different wire ones. This is just sort of your stock standard easy one. You don't need something like this. This is just for wig stores, really. You don't need one of her. This is very handy. This is called a cork head. Something just to look for when you buy your cork head is the size. So most people won't realize that these come in different sizes. So this is a 21 inch. So when you look on the listing, you know, it might be 22 inch, 23 inch. If my wigs are small, so my head might be a 21 inch. So it's going to fit well on here. If I went and got a 22 inch or a 23 inch cork head, then my wig's wet and then I'm stretching it on here, I'm just going to stretch my lace. So it is something to be careful of. Just make sure when you're buying it, you look for smaller than your wig size. They can come on these big stands. This whole thing I think is like $35 Australian, so they're not expensive. They look fancier than they are. And some of these will come, so this head comes off. Some of them will come on a suction cup, which is actually really handy, or some will come on a clamp, and you can just clamp it onto your makeup table, something like that. So they will also come with T-pins. So these are T-pins here. And these will help you if you're styling your wig to pin it on, or actually more likely your topper. When you use the T-pins, don't put it in the lace and don't put it in the silk. So you're going to put it in one of the stronger areas, either sort of through the ear tab or into the wefted area. You don't want to stick it in your lace and then tear your lace, and you also don't want to damage your silk. So always put the T-pins in one of the strong areas, whether it's your wig or your topper. And then obviously some products. So basic products that you would need. All of our hair is really beautiful quality, so you don't actually need a lot of products. I see people saying, what oils do I need? What masks do I need? You don't actually need much. In the salon, all we do, we use Davro or Pravana. They're just brands. Davro is an Australian brand. If you're in US, you may not be able to find it. But Pureology is another good one. Anything that's a sulfate-free, hydrating, salon quality shampoo and conditioner is absolutely fine. And to wash, you just use a sink of water, in and out, really easy, and condition probably hair down. You don't want to be conditioning the knots or the silk top area. Over time, that will loosen and you will lose hair. So you don't need to be scrubbing shampoo into hair or conditioner. And then we actually just leave ours to air dry. So we just would put it on something like that. We've actually got a whole hanging thing at the back to hang lots at once, but you would just leave it there to air dry. And in the morning, normally overnight it will dry, and in the morning you can do what you want with it. So then you can either wear it as is, looks quite natural, just sort of that air dried look, or you can put a curl in it, or you can straighten it. So you don't actually need a lot of products. I would put a heat protectant in first if you are going to be doing straightening or curling, but that's about it. If you do want to get into oils and things like that, especially if it's a blonde, don't use something like argan oil, Moroccan oil, because they actually have a colour to them. So if you've got a blonde piece and you're putting Moroccan oil in there, which is actually yellow, it's actually going to stain the hair. So quite often people are putting all these oil treatments in and they're actually just making the hair worse. So don't get too caught up in a lot of treatments, masks, things like that. You could give it a mask every sort of 3 months if it's feeling a little bit dry. Blondes could also do with a purple shampoo over time because they will oxidize. So just talking also about things that will damage your wig. One is sunscreen. So people quite often won't realize that sunscreen, it's oxybenzoate, whatever that big long chemical is in sunscreen. It actually can, hair extensions and wig hair, it can give it a pink color. So if you're wearing sunscreen every day, which a lot of us are, and you're finding you're getting pink through the front, that's often because of the sunscreen. So just use a mineral-based sunscreen. That will stop that from happening. And that's really hard to remove. So once you get that sort of pink deposited in the hair, it's really hard to remove. We can, but it's not that easy. Blondes will oxidize over time. Anything with highlights, those highlights will become warmer over time. So they can do with a retone or a refresh with a bit of purple shampoo and a sink of water. What else ruins them?
Best thing to smooth down the little baby
Hair? It depends on the product. So that's another thing. Often people will buy a wig and it's got crazy return hairs. lace wigs have to have a return hair. So a return hair is, if I go like this somewhere, I will find short hairs through here. And that is because when they hand tie into the lace, they have to make a knot. The hair has to be hand tied in there somehow. So they sew it onto the lace, they make a little knot, and either they hide that in a silk top, they hide that under the cap with that material, which makes it dense because you've got the silk and then you've got all the knots and then a material. But on a lace, it's so thin, you can't just have all the knots hanging there. So they actually make a longer end of the knot. So it's got a knot here and then it's got a longer hair, which is your return hair. On a good wig, what we will do is, it costs more because you pay for hair by length. So we might take a 16-inch hair, make it into a 12-inch wig, and then have a 4-inch return hair. So the return hair actually sits lower, and then we will try to make them a bit broken up. So you might have return hair here, and a short one, and a long one, so that the return hairs aren't all in one place. When people try and scrimp a little bit on the hair length, they might have a 1-inch return hair, because that way they've started with a shorter hair length and paid less for the hair. So then you might just have crazy short hairs poking all up here. That's really hard to flatten those sort of stiff poking up hairs, but you can just use a hot tool is the best way. There's a hot comb you can buy, they're cheap on eBay, and you can just comb them down. Heat's your best friend in those. I've seen people use sticks to sort of stick them down as well. But you can see like this doesn't really have a lot of return hairs, even if I sort of try and find them, they're through here. So sometimes you might get out of the box and it's been squashed and they might be poking up, but just the back of a curling tong as well, you know, just flatten them down, heat, or if you're straightening it, straighten under. That will help with it as well. Wig stand, talked about that. Hot Tools products, talked about that. Cuts and curly, how to put them on, things that are ruining your wigs. So other things you do need to be careful of is hats. So I see a lot of people that might wear a ball cap and they're losing hair at the front. Anything that rubs on this lace and rubs on these knots, over time you'll lose the hair. So you just do need to be careful of anything rubbing on those areas. If you are styling, I wouldn't be like, I see people styling wigs from wet to dry, and you know, they're using the round brush and they're blow drying it like a blowout like you would at the salon. Pulling on the wet hair with a round brush and a blow dryer is just going to pull those knots out after a while. You know, it is a tiny knot on a delicate fabric, so you really do need to look after it. Like, they're pretty durable, but they can only withstand so much. So that sort of round blowout style is going to pull your hair out over time. As a wee fly making friends with that one. And yeah, things like makeup and fake tan. Fake tan's a tricky one because I personally I need a spray tan, but I love a spray tan. That can colour the lace over time. If you find that your lace has oxidised, it's spray tanned, you can put a bit of purple shampoo on there and that will tone it back. And you can also just use an alcohol spray to remove any makeup on there as well. Also, when you put your makeup on, what you might like to do is actually just wipe the makeup off in a line from where your wig's going to sit. So you just don't have to wash your lace as much. But any sort of alcohol wipe under here to remove makeup will keep your lace looking clean. Don't use oil-based makeup removers, you know, the ones that will take off your mascara, everything, those oil-based ones, because oil on knots is not your best friend either. So they're just little things, you know, they don't make a massive difference if you're doing the wrong thing, but they will just protect your wig over time. And obviously they're not a cheap item, so it's good to sort of try and get the longer lifespan out of them as well. And then I just wanted to talk about also how not to get tricked online. Like, obviously there's not that many good wig stores around, so most people don't have one they can just pop into and try on and buy something lovely. So things to look out for if something's a scam is if they don't have faces on the website of people wearing. So on my website you'll see it's me. I'm on, you know, all of my Instagram is me, all of my photos of my wigs on the website is me. So when you look, you know that I'm a real person. You can do a Zoom with me, you know, pretty much that's me, that's my business. There's websites around, you'll see me, I'm on there, on their Facebook page, you know, I'm on their Instagram showing how, especially a lot of how I grew my hair back. So it's me. I saw one the other day actually and it said I was horrified. It's a picture of me going like this and it said I was losing my hair and I was absolutely horrified. And I thought, oh, that's nice, horrified, showing, you know, everyone's watching that. But then I grew my hair back with their little scalp massager. and then it showed me wearing a wig. So, you know, people, and thousands of people are buying this thing. You know, it's got thousands of comments saying, oh my God, her hair looks so much better. I go on there and say, it's a wig, it's a wig, it's a wig. But then they block me and yeah. So anyway, there's also a lot of websites will actually have, like they'll have all the other wig brands that I know, and it'll have their photos and my photos, and it'll say buy this topper, 2 for $59. Yeah, so just make sure that, you know, there's a real person behind the brand. You can contact them if you need to. Reviews is another good one. So go on Google and check out if they've got reviews. Go on Facebook and check out if they've got reviews. Check out on their Instagram that people are commenting and they're replying. You know, if they've got their Google reviews turned off, I see a lot of companies actually turn those off, and that would make me wonder why. Like I've got a lot of 5-star reviews. I don't have any middle reviews. And I think I've got 2 1-star reviews, which like broke my heart. But, you know, at least you can see that that's their real reviews. You can't delete your reviews on Google. Like if someone gives me a 1-star, there's nothing I can do about that. I can reply to them, but Google doesn't allow you to change them or delete them or remove them. So you know they're pretty honest, but people can turn them off, so they just don't have reviews at all. So if you see a company, they've got no reviews, it means they've turned them off. So that's probably for a reason. Also go through those reviews. You know, if most of them are lovely and they've got a couple of 1-stars or 2-stars, you know, everyone gets people who aren't happy with the product. One of my 1-stars was I had a restocking fee. Someone wasn't happy paying that, but you know, for me, it's very clearly stated on the website. Very normal in wig world, so they gave me a 1-star review for that. And the other one I have was someone I worked with for a very long time, you know, having them over on Saturdays and trying to show them how to wear the wig, and really did try, so that was a bit sad. But I do have a 1-star review there with some pretty awful looking photos actually, which is not, you know, sort of shown like this and the wig's on wrong. So I do have 2 1-star reviews. I know exactly who they are. I've replied to them, I've done my best, but you know, you can see all my other reviews there. So yeah, just making sure that people do have reviews available for you to look at. Also looking for those fake hair terms, you know, European texture, non-Remy, it's saying it's virgin hair when it's obviously coloured. Looking for those things. Return policy, do check return policies. There's a lot of wig companies and there's just a no, flat out no returns. So if you're buying online and it comes and it doesn't fit your head, then you're stuck, you know, with a product you need to resell. Stock standard for return policies is a short period of time. Normally it's about 3 days to try the wig on, see if it fits you, see if you like it, and let people know if you want to return it. That's sort of your standard return policy. And standard is sort of 15 to 20% of the product, which is really high, to be honest. So we used to have a standard of $195 restock fee. We thought we'd actually make it easier for people to purchase first time, because once people sort of get their first time one, they normally stay with us. You know, they love the product. They normally want to return if it's too big, wrong color, things like that. So we've now got 3 days, and if you're not happy with it, return it for a refund, and it's a $75 restock fee. That pretty much covers stripe fees. Actually doesn't even, you know, per purchase on the website, a stripe fee is about $120. We also pay for shipping, that's about $100 international. So on every return, we actually lose a couple of $100. But we sort of think we'll take that as a business cost for people to be able to try. And then we do free, you've got 10 days. So say you missed that return, a lot of people get very stressed, you know, I've only got 3 days, you know, so say you missed that period, you can still return for an exchange. So we do a full credit. Say you got it, it's too small, love the product though, you can just send it back and you get a full credit, you've got 2 years to use that and buy something else that's more suitable. So we've changed that in the last sort of 6 months to be a bit more user-friendly, because some of them are pretty heavy duty, like there's a lot that's 15 to 20%, especially in US. And if you're paying 20% of $2,000 US, you know, that's what, $200? No, 400. Yeah, US dollars, which is like 600 Australian dollars just to try the product. So make sure you go and check every company's one when you buy, just because, you know, you could be out quite a bit of money. And some will just be no returns. So you should always be wary of no returns. Yeah, also where they're shipping from. I see a lot of US-based companies, and then when you look at where it's coming from, it's actually shipping straight out of China. So, you know, nothing wrong with buying wigs through China, but just be aware that that is where majority of those sort of dodgy companies are run out of. So just be aware that, you know, you might be paying a lower price from there. But if you're thinking it's coming from US, just be careful you know where you're buying from. And yeah, that's sort of most of the things I think that people get trapped up with. The other thing is custom order. I would always, for a first time with a company, go with a stock piece. You know, you can get it, try it on, feel the quality, know before going with a custom order. Quite often people say for their first one, oh, hey, you know, I don't know if it's going to fit me, but can you cut the lace? I will normally say to them, look, why don't this time we send it without the lace cut, because once the lace cut, it's yours, and that way you can try it, make sure it's a good fit, make sure you actually like it, so you're not stuck with it, because I hate it when people get stuck with things that they don't want. It's not good for me, it's not good for them. So do make sure, you know, for a first one, I wouldn't go with a custom order with a company I don't know. I see so many people stung with really expensive custom colours, caps, all of these things, and then what comes, like what I got, you know, I got pretty much some underwear with some horsehair sewn on it, and that's a custom order, and PayPal will not back you on that. PayPal has a clear thing that says custom orders, you won't get your money back. People saying PayPal friends and family online, just say no, just say I'm happy to pay the PayPal fee, because you've got no charge back for that either. So yeah, that's some sort of things to try and protect yourself. So we might get into FAQs. And yeah, people have questions. You can feel free to ask on here as well, and I will try and keep up. But yeah, if you've got questions, you can either put your little hand up. There's 3 dots there. You can put your hand up, or you can just type it in here and I will read it. That's for all of you online.
I have a question.
Go.
So I have a topper and I have a wig.
Yep.
And I found that the hair on my wig, it went a bit like coarse, and my topper never did. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong, or I use the same products for both of them. Yeah, I'm just not sure if it's...
Are they same colour?
Yeah.
Exactly the same colour?
Lola.
Yeah.
And whatever the equivalent is of the other one.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're the exact same. So I don't know what's...
If you're using same shampoo, same everything, then it might just be one of them, because they're human hair. One might just be slightly silkier, one might be a stronger hair. The other thing also, silk toppers do tend to be a bit silkier. So I'll just show you, like this is the same as Lola. It's now called Portia. Just because the way the hair is sewn in that sort of one length and it's flat silky, it just gives a silkier, stronger look. Whereas when they're lace, that's not, just the way they're sort of made with it, it's sort of a bit more volume. They just look a little bit lighter, but the hair can feel, it's just not that heavy silkiness, because it's not as dense as well. See, that's so dense. It just is heavier and silkier. So some people like that, but also it can look a little bit too heavy and silky compared to that natural sort of fluffy look. And that's just a density thing. The more sort of hair you have, these are different colours, by the way. I do have actually one here saying, where's a Lola wig? Oh, it's straight though, so it's hard to compare. Yeah, in fact, I can sort of show here. See, these are all sort of wigs. It's lighter and sort of fluffier, whereas if you get a silk top wig, it looks really silky, but it's really heavy and dense, and that's just normally the amount of hair in a piece. So obviously when something's more dense, it reflects light better, and sometimes the colour can look darker as well, whereas on a lace one, it just looks a little bit fluffier. Yeah.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. As long as it's not something I'm doing.
No.
Really good. I was like, what am I doing differently between the two?
No, and these sort of, because it's so dense, they sort of hold that curl, you know, because it's a big amount of hair, it holds that curl beautifully as well. Whereas this will look more like a sort of soft, you know, it's a bit more of a soft look. It can look more natural in a lot of ways, but it's just because it's not so much hair and dense. And the hair sometimes looks darker on a silk top as well, because when it's denser, that reflects light differently.
Right.
So you might have a Lola wig and a Lola topper and think, well, actually overall that looks darker. And the root will always look darker too, because it's that sleek, dense look, whereas this is more sort of airy and light. It doesn't reflect light the same.
Even that's really good to know, because I'd worried that I'd worn the wig too much in the sun or something, because I thought they would look different colours, but that totally makes sense.
Yeah, the root is always more obvious on a silk top. It's sort of, you can see where it starts and finishes, whereas on Where's the wee Lola wig I had? She's here somewhere. Just trying to compare apples with apples here. See, that root looks more blended.
Yeah.
Because it's thinner and more lightweight and it's got more air through there, it doesn't look so sleek. Whereas if it was sleek like that, it looks darker, and if it had more hair. So sometimes people think, oh, but it's got less of a root, whereas that has quite an obvious root. Just see if people have questions here. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about today? Please let us know. How do ear tabs work if you wear glasses? Okay, so glasses and ear tabs. I don't have any glasses. Can I borrow those? Thank you. So if you have, there's something people with no ear tabs, sometimes they will be a no ear tabs person because they like to wear glasses a lot. So the wig will go here, no ear tab, and then you just poke the thing in easier. But it should be pretty easy to wear. Like if I've got my wig on here, this is my ear tab here, I would actually take my glasses and I would put it under the ear tab. So I would just, if I'm out and about, I would just put it under the ear tab. So then you've got, oh, there's a magnified ones. Ooh. So then it would just be, it goes under the lace and under the ear tabs through there. And then, it's just like that. Same with sunglasses. It's pretty comfortable, easy to do. I wouldn't be putting it on top. Sometimes people try and poke it on top of the ear tab and then it's just going into the wig and it doesn't really sit secure. So just poke it up under the ear tab and it should be fine. How often should a wig or topper be washed if worn daily? So we say every 10 to 20 wears, but that's completely a preference thing, how you wear it, how sweaty you are, how much makeup you wear, what you did with it that day. I wear mine probably closer to the 20 wears. So yeah, it really depends. You'll know when it needs a wash, it will start to look claggy. Like a freshly washed one will be sort of clean and sleek. Where's my one? Starting to look a little bit more dull and still pretty good. But it will, it will start to look dirty and claggy, and then you'll know it needs a wash. So how long you want that to go depends really on you, but a good estimate is every 10 to 20 wears. Can you show the difference between bangs, side set, wispy, curtain, and face framing? Who have I got here? The bangs. I might get to that one in a minute, to be honest, because I'll have to go through and find some with bangs. But I will show something like this wee one. This is your sort of classic curtain bang. I will put some more pictures. We've just done a whole lot of bangs. I put them on my Instagram yesterday. So I will post more pictures with bangs. But this is your sort of classic curtain bangs. This is a bit smaller actually. Your curtain bang will come from a middle part and it will come down like curtains. Your side sweep will come from a side part, so you can choose whichever part you want that to be, and it will come in a side sweeping motion. A wispy fringe will be just a little wispy actual full bang. So it also depends. You can let us know. Like some people would like a short curtain bang. Oh, I'm pulling my hair there. Some people would like, from the eyebrow coming down. Some people would like it from nose to chin. So you can also let us know where you like your bang. You can send a photo and we can actually follow that cut, because on the website we've sort of got 3 options. Just because we can't have millions of photos of different kinds, we just have those 3 classic cuts. Face framing, will sort of be more like this. So you can just say, actually, I like a longer curtain bang, and just send us a photo of that cut as well. I will put more photos though of different bang types for people to see. Okay, anybody else got questions? Yes.
I was just wondering with your wig, whether you styled it or whether it just dries naturally with that little...
So this was styled with a curl, but I've worn it quite a lot, so it's just dropped out. So it's got that little bit of an old curl wave, but I'm terrible with my wigs. Like I will be in the shop with the wig on, I'll do a consultation, I'll run home to breastfeed baby, and then I'll just, as soon as I get in the door, take my shoes and my wig off and I'll throw it on the couch. You know, I'll feed baby and then I'll say, oh, bye, and back off to the shop, and I'll just pull it back on and run back. So, and I do that all day, so multiple times. Probably why I don't clip it on. I'm just constantly pulling it off and pulling it on, pulling it off, and I just leave it lying around. So I don't even have one of these at home. I've got 3 wigs and they're lying in my office on a box. So I'm not someone who really is the epitome of treating their wigs well. So, you know, they've still got their soft wave in them, but they're just lying around the house, so they could be styled a little bit better. But then also I'll come in and wash it here, and I'll say to Tetsuya, can you just quickly put a curl in this for me? You know, it takes them 2 minutes. So, but yeah, this is probably worn 10 times, and that's out. Like, that's a whole, like, we had our grand opening, I wore it there. So that's a whole day and an evening of wearing it, touching it, moving. It's been out to the rugby, it's been out for dinner with hubby. So it's been out quite a lot, and it's still got a nice wave in it. But it will dry similar-ish to that. Like, it will still have a little bit of movement in it as well, just because of the way it's cut. Did you have a question?
Yeah, when they do start to oxidise, can you actually get a standard hairdresser to colour them?
They should be able to. No, so if you've got a stylist you trust, they should be able to colour. They can always reach out to, Stephen's my main colourist. They can reach out, like often their colourist, especially in the US, like their colourist might contact him and they might have a colourist talk about what colour codes to use, what not to do. If they're experienced in hair extensions, then hair extension hair can often be very similar. You know, it's been coloured in similar ways, processed in similar ways. It's not on the head, so sometimes they might find that the colour doesn't take as quickly, and it's because there's no heat. Like, you know, if you put blonde on a human head, it's got heat, so it will blonde quicker than something might like this. So hair extensions work very similar in how it takes colour and things, but their colourist can always reach out to our colourist if they have questions. Cutting, things like that's normally pretty straightforward, pretty easy, but I would work with a colourist that I know is pretty good to touch your wig. You know, once you find someone, that's great, you can use them all the time, but that first time I have seen hairdressers ruin wigs. I can do that, and just, it can grab colour quicker. You know, they might say, oh, I'll just put a light ash root on here and it goes almost black. So yeah, just make sure. There's also a lot of, in those Facebook groups, recommendations. I also have recommendations of people have used, you know, they've reached out to us and said, I coloured one of your wigs, or someone's used them and they did a great job. So I know someone in Palo Wigs, she is in Brisbane, so if you're in Brisbane, she's really great. Sally in Adelaide, she's very good. I think on the higher end price-wise, but she knows what she's doing, so it's worth it to get a good colour. And there's a couple of people I know also in US, so if you are in US and you wanted to know a good colourist, it might be that you ship it to them, or they might be in your state. So same with repairs. There are some people around who will do wig repairs, reventilation. You know, if it's starting to lose hair, we can do that. But, you know, if you're in the States and you don't want to send it back here and fluff around, there's people in the States that might be closer to home and things like that as well. So that's also something to ask if you are buying a wig from a company, and say, can you do repairs? What happens if, you know, I damage my wig or something like that? Is there someone you recommend, or do you do repairs yourself? Or do they just say, you know, well, you broke your wig, sucks to be you. So yeah, something worth asking as well. Another thing also to mention, I see some companies do wig resizing. I just want to touch on that because it's a little bit like, say I've got this wig on the website and it's a medium and you're actually a small. We wouldn't resize this wig to a small for you. We would actually create a wig in a small for you. So I see a lot of companies that will say, you know, pay $120 or whatever for a wig resize. I would do a resize if, you know, we wanted to take some wefts out or something, or a wig you already own normally. But a wig resize is a little bit like, say I've got a pair of jeans and they don't fit here. And so I say, why don't you just get a large and I'll take the waist in? So yes, they fit here, but the crotch is going to be here and they're going to be too long. So it's better actually to make the cap for you fitted to start with, as opposed to, you know, oh, we've got a large, we'll just resize it. You know, you pay us $120, we just resize it to a small for you and send it to you. You're going to get small around here and you're going to have all the bulk in the back of a large. So just do be wary. You know, if you see a wig online and you love it and they say, well, resize it, just actually, I would say, look, can you actually just create one for me in my size? Yeah. So yeah, any more questions? Questions in the chat? Okay. Why would a human hair wig stop holding a curl? It's not that it would stop holding a curl, it would just be the hair type. So Chinese hair, it's very naturally stick straight. It's very silky, it can be very beautiful, really hard to curl. You know, you can curl it and it wants to be stick straight. Something that's, you know, that sort of soft South American hair, which already has a wave in it, it will hold that curl longer. So a silkier hair type often, like our Brazilian hair holds the curl very well, our European hair more prone to get fluffy in humidity will not hold the curl as well. So it's just the hair type. Same as, you know, I might curl your hair and I might curl your hair. By the end of the night, your hair might still have a full glam curl. Yours might have dropped to be a little bit more limp. So often very fine texture, soft hair, like my hair, it's really fine, it wouldn't hold a curl well. Someone with a stronger, healthier hair, it would hold the curl better. So it's just as a hair type thing. There are some things like, you know, products you can spray in before that will hold a curl for longer. But even a human hair, you know, if I got my hair done at the salon and then I wore it out all evening, by the end of the night, that curl's gonna start dropping. To expect it to hold that curl for 20 wears, it's just not going to, you know, like that curl has dropped, and then I'll just recurl it. So yeah. Other wig names on the website based on colour or style or something else. So on the website, all of the names of our wigs are colour. So this is Portia, this colour, it's that sort of sandy blonde colour. This is Portia, it's the same colour, but that's in a wig. We have Portia in silk top, lace top, and wigs. So something like, this is, double check, oh that's Samara, let me find an onyx. Is that onyx? No, it's Samara too. Yeah, so this is Samara, there's an onyx there. So onyx is our darkest, is our natural black. This is Samara, it's a shade lighter, but that would be, you know, onyx in a wig. So onyx just means soft, natural black. Samara is always just our darkest brunette, and it will come in a silk topper, lace topper, grand topper, and wig. So when you're looking on the website at those names, it means the colour, and then we can do that colour in anything. We might do a short bob with a fringe, curl it. It's still going to be Portia, but it will be Portia in a bob with a fringe. Yeah. How long should a lace top wig or topper last if properly cared for? So we say 1 to 3 years for a lace top, and that's just wig standard really. It's hard to give an exact time frame on anything because some people's wig might be 6 years old and it's still happy and healthy. Some people might chew through them. I've seen them in 9 months. So it just depends, a bit like high heels. You know, some people are heavy on them and some people are light on them. The thing that will start to give on your lace is you'll start to lose hair, you know, it will start to sort of get bald. Our hair will last, you know, on a lower quality wig, the hair will go first. So you'll find the hair gets too dry and knotty. So that will give first, but our hair will last you. It's just that, you know, after a lot of wears, it will start to lose some hair. We can reventilate that. So I've got people who, you know, bought from me 3 years ago, very early days, and they've reached out and said, you know, I've lost a little bit of hair on my wig hair. So we will reventilate that and put that hair back in. We've even replaced whole lace tops to, you know, so the hair's still good, so you can get more life out of that wig as well. And then it depends on what you're doing with it. Some people sleep in them. Sleeping on them will lose hair. You know, if you're rubbing that on a pillow, you're going to lose hair quicker probably than that 1 year mark. Swimming in them, chlorine, salt, wigs don't like that. Baseball caps, sun hats, things like that rub can lose hair. How often you heat style them? Like if you use a heat protectant, you should be able to, you know, continuously style them for a long time, but obviously heat tools will lessen the life as opposed to someone who, you know, treats it really carefully, only uses the best products, gently brushes it and only leaves it to air dry. It's a bit like your own hair in your head, how well you treat it. Also blondes will tend to not quite last as long as a brunette. Like this is a completely never processed, never coloured, virgin black hair. It's the hair that will last you the longest of all hair types, just because bleach on hair is damaging. But then obviously, you know, this is still beautiful, healthy, shiny blonde. It's just not as healthy as a virgin black.
Do you have a recommendation for a good heat protectant spray?
We use, oh, it's just around here. We use Therma Protect. It's called Therma Protect by Davro.
Okay.
Yeah, I can
I
send.
bought one and it's horrible. So
Oh, is it?
I'll try that.
Yeah, Davro's lovely. Some of them are very sticky.
Yeah.
Some of the cream ones are nice too. You know, it's just a cream you put on when it's wet and you can put through. Amika is another recommended brand. Yeah. And anything by Pravana, we love Pravana.
Yeah.
Pravana has a really nice, they just stopped doing the shine mist, but they have this pearl oil drops.
Okay.
They're really nice just to rub, you know, only a tiny bit will make it greasy, but just put a little bit of that and run it through and it gives it a beautiful shine.
Okay.
So they're just called the Pravana, we've got the mist. It's called the pearl oil drops, I think. That's a really nice brand too.
And what temperature are you using for heat?
So a lot of them don't have, like a lot of the GHDs won't have a temperature gauge on them at all, and they sit around 220, which is quite hot. If you've got one that allows you, about 180 is good. But you know, with a heat protectant, they can handle the heat. Yeah, so I wouldn't worry too much about it if you look at your one and think, well, it doesn't even have a gauge on it. And then also, if you're wanting to protect the wig by using a lower temperature, the curl won't hold as well either. So, you know, if you're sort of putting it at 150 thinking, I'm going to not put too hot on it, you might find you just get a limp curl. So you do need the heat to get the good curl.
Yeah.
How much more is a custom order? So it depends on whether you're wanting a full custom colour. So if it's a custom order, like you want the Porsche colour, but you wanted it in a custom cap size, anything that's sort of a stock colour, something we already do, there's no extra cost for that. You know, I'm not going to penalise people because they've got a small head. You know, say, oh, sucks to be you, your head doesn't fit our products, so you now need to pay more. But you will have to wait for, each piece takes us around 12 weeks to make, from, you know, the hand sewing to us doing the colouring, cutting, things like that. So it's a really slow process, so you will have to wait about 10 to 12 weeks, and we can just make that cap to your measurements. If you want an actual custom colour, then you would just pay sort of our, say a blonde 16-inch wig is a certain price. You would pay that price plus the custom colour work, which is normally about 300 AUD for a full colour, or if it's just a root ad, you know, then it's not that much, but it would just depend on the colour work you do. So if it's just, you know, you wanted a full colour of a beautiful red, it would be one price. If you wanted a whole head of added roots, low lights, the same as if you went to a salon and you paid to get your hair coloured, it would just be a cost in time. You know, if it takes Stephen an 8-hour colouring day, which some of those low lights, highlights, dark roots would do, then it's going to be more expensive as if he just puts a dark root on something. So you can always reach out to us and we would give you a quote before doing anything on those ones as well. So, yeah. Any more questions? That's Luna. Yep. Luna's like a silvery blonde. This is Lynx here. Lynx is the one you tried. That looked really nice on you. It's just this sort of silvery grey with the light at the front. Luna is more like a silvery blonde. So Luna looks nice on a lot of age groups actually, because it can look silvery grey on sort of older women or on young girls. You know, sometimes they get the long length and it looks like a platinum silvery blonde. So it works really well and it's quite flattering because it just is. No, it was Lynx. Yeah. Yeah, there's Luna in a, you know, this is sort of more of a washed.
And that's not the
This one? This is a medium density, I think. Mine's a low. I think this is a medium. Yeah, that's a medium density. So yeah, Luna's pretty. Luna's a new colour, actually. It's nice. You can try that on later if you want. Okay, any other questions?
Just explain how consultation works. Like
Yes.
Online versus
Yep.
in the shop.
So you can book, we now have a booking system, which is awesome on our website. It used to be me sort of trying to keep track in my brain. So you just go online and you can book the time. I do consultations Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays. We are actually looking for salespeople to be able to do consultations on other days, like Thursday, Friday, Saturday would be great as well, so we can open more, just because we are booked like quite far in advance. So then we'll have stylists on site who can do cutting and colouring and things like that. But someone preferably, I was looking for hairstylists, and then I thought they know all about hair, they can do consults. But then I found actually it's better if people know wigs and have some background normally in hair loss, because they can be a bit more empathetic and understand and know how the wig works. So we have Shannon, who, if you've ever looked on my website, she's also on my Instagram recently with a short grey bob. She's very attractive girl, but she's on the website and I've known her. She bought 2 wigs from me very early when I was early in the business, and we've just kept in contact, and she's done a lot of help sort of around. So she's working Mondays. Ideally, she'll be picking up a few more days in the future, but she's also studying. So if you come on a Monday consult, she'll be around. I'll still be here as well. But you can book online, you'll come in, and it'll just be normally you here. We lock the door, we can put the blinds down if people want, and there'll normally be a stylist here as well. So then I can explain wigs, toppers, exactly sort of what we're doing here. You can try on different options, see what works best for you. And it's normally about an hour to sort of try on and see what suits, what works. And if it's a Zoom one, then it's just the same, but you can't try it on. So often people come and say, look, I just want to see these colours in real life. I want to see what you look like in real life, that you're not a scam person. Can you show me, am I measuring my head right? So yeah, and it's normally sort of half an hour. We'll just talk on a Zoom and show them how things work, the inside of the cap, any questions people have. So it's just a more one-on-one, a bit like this, but just sort of one-on-one experience, yeah. And then you can have things cut and things, with the stylist here, they can cut it and change things, and that can make a big difference to the look of the wig as well. If it's anything that's a colour, we would normally leave it, well, you would leave it with us. Stephen would colour it, and then you'd come back and pick it up.
So if you potentially come in,
yep,
right, you book, come in,
yep,
you have your consult,
yep,
you're happy with something,
yep,
you might want a side part or something,
yep, you
could potentially walk out that day with,
yeah. Yeah. So we could cut the lace for you, we can cut a fringe in for you, and you can leave with your new wig on. But yeah, if you wanted to get a colour, obviously you don't want to sit here for 6 hours waiting for it. That is one of the benefits that it's a wig. You don't actually have to sit in the salon while we do it. You can go away and we'll pick it up once it's coloured. Yeah. Yes, can you add mixed grey to the temples for those of us wanting to start to go grey? Yes, we can on all the lace products. So the silk toppers don't do very well with little bits of grey through the front. The problem is it can look too sleek and it can look like a skunk line a little bit. Like if we put a little bit of grey through here, sometimes it just looks like a grey piece, and then the rest on a silk topper. On the lace, you can sort of put a little bit of dark with a little bit of light through. So I'll show you. We actually do this a lot on our greys anyway, because it often follows the natural greying pattern. So we will put this little one on. This is Lynx. So you can see it's actually got the light through the front, and we can do Lynx without that. If you don't want that, we do Lynx without it. We do Misty, which is more of a salt and pepper grey, and then it has the white through the front. Lynx is your light grey with your light through the front if you want. We also do Opal, which is a lighter grey than this, but it's got more of a sort of goldy brunette tone to it. But we also do custom orders of how much grey you want through something too. Like say you wanted a sort of a cool tone brunette, say you wanted a sort of brunette like this, but you wanted grey through it, we could do 1% grey, so just a few grey pieces through, or we could go up to, 50%, which is half grey, and then the grey through the front. So there's quite a lot we can do with greys. But yeah, definitely that lightness through the front is really popular. Okay, what time is it? 1 o'clock. Oh, I've gone way longer than supposed to, but feel free to mingle. Feel free to ask questions if you've got any. You can keep dropping questions here too, people, if you've got questions. Otherwise, thank you everyone for coming. I hope you got some knowledge out of today. We will be doing more of these, and they will get variously, that's not really the word I'm looking for. They will get more and more advanced, I guess is the word. So we will be doing one on caring. We'll go through all the products that we like. We will go through, show you how to wash one, how to condition it. We will do styling, go through a couple of different ways of, so you can go away knowing how to do a couple of different types of curls. And then we will get more and more advanced in the future. And, we probably will even look at doing some for wig makers and things on how to cut colour. So if you do have a stylist who you like and they're interested, we may do classes for them of actually how to colour. So there's more people out there who can help people out, with their wigs, as opposed to having to send them back or just cross your fingers that someone knows what they're doing. Yeah. Okay, well, if you're not following me, I'm on Instagram at Goldylost here. I have a Facebook support group called Goldylost Support on Facebook. It's a really nice group of women in there. People ask questions, share things, so that's cool. But yeah, otherwise, thanks.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yes. It's at home, but I can get it. No, that's right. I can get it for you.
I'll wait.
I can get that for you.
Don't you sell any of the products here?
No, we don't. We were sort of thinking about how we would do that. In future, to be honest, I'd like my own product line. We've been looking at doing that as well. Just sort of wigs and toppers, shampoos, and having a whole product range. So that's sort of future. We've been talking to sort of chemists and scientists and things at the moment with product formulations, I guess. But that's a big project actually. But yeah, no, Devereaux, they've got a nice website online. We use the HydraSense range. I can actually show you what we've got, what we like. Yes, if you are at home, feel free to go. We'll just hang around here and have a chat. But if you want to hang around and be here, you can still be here. But oh, sorry, you can't hang around and be here. It's going to end. The team call is going to end. So thank you so much for joining. If you do have any more questions, feel free to send me a DM on Instagram, an email, or reach out on Facebook. And really appreciate you coming today. Bye. Okay.